style, and we seem to be somewhat cooperating. But yeah, that's if anybody else wants to fill in anything after what
We found a old orc banner and a lost treasure as well.
Yeah,
From
awesome.
The orcs.
So we were basically on the hunt for these fireworks as a boy from the Shire was causing problems. We managed to find them, but unfortunately not before the hobbit who took them was found by some orcs. We managed to put them to the sword and get the treasure and get out before the mine collapsed, which is fantastic. Under normal circumstances it would have been fantastic, but in Shire terms it's oh man, you guys are causing problems. All sorts of gossip has got round the Shire now. You've broke into Mickle Delvin, you've been collapsing mines. Goodness knows what else you troublemakers have been up to, and they've decided they've had enough. They've thrown you into the cellars of of the town hall, which is the closest thing they've got to a prison until they find out what on earth to do with you troublemakers, I suppose. And that's going to be where we're going to be beginning our adventure today. For Nibs and Falco, it's probably a bit more serious, but for Ted is just shrugging his shoulders, realising he could just walk off at any point, and there's not much the halflings can really do about it. But he's staying around just to be a nice guy, I suppose. So thank you, Ted. Thanks for...
Yeah, he just doesn't want to cause a fuss. He's like, okay, if these little children things want to, like, you know, have their moment in the spotlight, fine.
All right. So our dwarven character isn't here yet. He's just on the map, so we can see the scene. Our other three characters, yeah, you've been kind of thrown in here. And yeah, even though it's a prison, you're still being treated quite nice. Let's be honest. There's lots of nice dry hanging fish and herbs and potatoes and apples that you can kind of munch down on. Lots of cheese, and you're sharing the cell with three overgrown mice that are not causing you too much problems. Do you have any regrets, Falco? Now you're going to be thrown in with Bilbo Baggins. People will be gossiping about you for the rest of your life.
I mean, people have been gossiping about the Grubb family for a while now.
Yeah, how they've all managed to suddenly die off in an amazing fashion. Okay, brilliant. What about you, Nibs? Nibs, for you, this is a bit serious. You know, you're a respected bounder of the Shire community. Now you've been thrown in the very cells that you throw people in. How do you feel, Nibs?
I think Nibs is definitely concerned about the impact this has on his authority within the community of bounders, but I think he's confident that he'll be able to clear it up eventually because he knows the Shire overall after taking care of those.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you're quite respected. Yeah. You know, this is just a stop on the road for you then, I guess. You're pretty confident you'll be able to speak to some of your peers and get this mess straightened out at least, as you can get some forgiveness.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, carry on. Okay. And then Ted, yeah, we've kind of skirted your thoughts already. You just don't really want to cause any fuss. You probably started to wonder why Bilbo even called you here in the first place, Ted. Is there any other things kind of going on your mind as you sit in this small, confined space? At least you sat down, your head's not scraping the roof, but you can't exactly stand up.
Ted will just sharpen some of his daggers and his short sword. He'll just, just kind of... I think he's got a short sword. And, he's just going to kind of like sharpen that. Just, keep things up to spec or thing. About it. Not be a nuisance, not causing any fuss. Just wait for the sword to be over. Especially as he wasn't here for half of it. He's only literally turned up for the cave, so whatever they're in trouble for, there's only one part of it that he's in trouble for.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Awesome. So you sit sharpening your weapons while the other two are probably stuffing their faces. You've got to eat in jail, right? Nibs, just to answer your question, what you got for the treasure was you went up 2 wealth ranks, which means essentially, it does mean other things, but in the starter set it means you get a couple more unique items that we talked about. So, you don't have to think of them now, but if you want to, we can add them to your character sheet. And a unique item is something that gives you like a bonus skill dice to a test that where it comes in relevant, essentially. So like a good walking stick, maybe for your travel rolls, or a good rope for an athletics check, and it'll only come in when it's applicable. In a nutshell.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, eventually then, after a long hour or two, the door creaks open. The mice quickly scuttle away as they are disturbed, and the bounder, one of the bounders that arrested you, kind of appears in the doorway. He looks a bit, not menacing, but he does give a good frown, just to let you know that you're still in trouble. And then stepping to one side, he does let in a hobbit we probably all know, Odo Proudfoot, the recently promoted mayor of the Shire. He kind of comes in as his walking stick, and he looks over at the party, and well, you have been busy, haven't you, hobbits? And elf, what have you got to say for yourselves?
How long-
Mayor,
Go ahead, Nibs.
no, all right. Mayor, good to see you. Well, here's what happened. There was a bit of danger, as you know. We Bounders have been looking at the outskirts of the Shire for some time, and a few folks have been missing, as you may have been aware. And, well, it turns out that there were some ogres in an abandoned mine. And so that was quite dangerous, as you can imagine. So these stout hobbits and I went in there, and we took care of the mission, as we are meant to do. So the Shire is now... peace has been restored, which I'm sure you would approve of. So this has all just been
Well, I can't say you made the mine a little safer, even if you did collapse half of it. But every hobbit from here to Stockbrook is gossiping about your antics. You've made yourselves quite famous. They'll be calling you Mad Nibs Notwise next and throwing you in with Bilbo Baggins. What are we to do with you, eh?
a mad nib. I may be, but you know that those folks up in Stockbridge are prone to exaggeration. They exaggerate the hairs on the tops of their feet if you give them half a chance.
Well, I suppose that's true. Well, what are we to do with you, eh? We can't keep you in this cellar all night. You'll get cold. Besides, you've eaten half of the town hall stocks. Look at you. Well, I don't blame you. What about you there, Folko? Anything to say for yourself? The reputation your family's got, and you're getting yourself into more trouble?
No trouble, sir. We're just trying to help out the town with the big fire and everything. We're just trying to get to the bottom of it before some young hobbit causes more trouble. I just sort of went from there.
So it did, Folko.
What about you there, stranger? Put those daggers away when I'm talking to you. And the hobbit kind of looks up at you, Ted. Coming in from the forest, causing all this trouble? Seems like we don't like strangers. Have you led these hobbits astray with your strange ways?
No, if anything, I kind of tried to dissuade them from some of their ways, but also I think only the last instance can I be, in actuality, be pinned to, as I have no knowledge or enterprise in the previous ones.
Yeah, him
So-
for a bit longer.
When is this kind of charade ending? Because, like, I am getting bored at the end of this.
Charade, this is serious business! Phew. Well, the three of you are quite lucky, I suppose, as it was. The quick post is a little short-handed this time of year. Few people off sick, hungover, that kind of thing. And, well, there's a dwarf outside, if you believe it, another stranger, who says there's a rather important letter to be delivered to no other than Stockbrook itself, to Barm Farling. Have you heard of Farmer Maggot? Lives on the outskirts of Stockbrook and his
Oh,
farm.
Sure. I know of old Maggot in Stockbrook. And potatoes.
Yeah, he's my father's cousin. Maggots and the Grubs go way back.
Well, very well then. I'm going to task you all to deliver a letter to Stockbrook to Farmer Maggot. The dwarf outside claims it's of great importance. He's going to be travelling with you. But there's a few conditions to your journey, of course. Kind of taps his walking stick on the ground to, he's a bit serious. You've got to stay off the main roads to avoid any more gossip. There's a lot of bounders about now. I wouldn't want any of them to see you and say we've gone easy on you. So you'll be taking through the fields and through Woody End, off the main path. And I shan't be sending you with too many rations either, as your punishment. And this, for a halfling, is probably one of the worst punishments you can imagine.
Ted's going to turn to the rest and goes, really? I thought, like, your kin were meant to be quite, charitable and sort of gracious hosts. But honestly, apart from Bilbo, the rest of you seem to be nothing but, well, annoyed, brash, and genuinely unwelcome.
Oh, the mayor's face goes bright red. He's seething with anger. Is that right? Elf of Mirkwood, we've been rather rash, have we? Well, if you and your friends here hadn't have caused all this trouble, you might have seen a different side to Hobbiton. But I'm afraid...
What trouble have they caused? Because, as far as I can understand, we went into a mine, we rescued one of your kin, dealt with some... Well, they weren't particularly difficult, but some orcs down there, goblins, what have you, and came out unscathed. So I'm genuinely trying to kind of find where the problem is in what I did.
What? These two here, they broke into Mickle Delving, stole a map for Bilbo Baggins from Rebelia. They've been off fighting trolls, leading children to the wilderness. And now this? You wouldn't understand, but these two know perfectly well these are not the ways of Hobbiton, the Shire. Wouldn't you both agree?
Yep, Father always said a quiet home's a happy home here, out here in Hobbiton.
Ah, there you are then. There you are. We'll have no more talk of this and that. You are to deliver this letter to Farling to Farmer Maggot immediately. Now, as you're all aware, it's normally about a 5-day walk. But you can take some new inventions with you. Test them out for us. Another part of your punishment. You ever heard of a velocipede?
What now?
Yes. No invention. And he kind of opens the door and you guys can see outside 4 penny farthings. You know what penny farthings are? Old-fashioned bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the Hobbit. You guys have probably never seen them before, but they're now all the rage. They're now all the rage in Brandywine, apparently. Coming as human inventions coming from Bree and down south, and they're slowly starting to spread to the Shire. And outside are 4 shiny velocipedes. They should cut your journey down by at least a day or 2.
Ted sat there thinking, God, are we going to like Bree or like where are we going? 5 days walk from here. He's trying to like rack his brains as to how far away this thing is.
Well, Stockbrook is on the Brandywine Bridge, the town before Brandywine. So it is actually very close to Bree. So it's the complete opposite side of the Shire. I don't have a map that I'll transfer us to in a minute that kind of displays the length. But of course, these are also in Hobbit legs times, Ted. So for you walking, it's probably wouldn't take that long. But for a Hobbit leg size and width, it probably takes about 5 days. So we accept the terms of the punishment then. Deliver this letter, stay off the roads, and make your way to Firm Long, yes?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very well. Hand in the letter. This hobbit's kind of grumbling as he comes over and he produces a letter and passes it to you, Falco. And it goes without saying that it would be very un-hobbit-like to open this letter. The mayor doesn't need to tell you. You kind of instinctively know that nosing into someone else's business is very much a crime.
Mm-hmm. I'll take it, open the treasure chest, put it in with all the gold and silver, and close the treasure chest.
What you notice, Falco, is on this letter, the wax seal is actually that of Bilbo Baggins's. Very interesting. So the bounder steps back then, and, well, very well then. You are to make pace, get your supplies, and make your way. The dwarf's outside waiting for you. And I guess our characters kind of head outside into the Shire, where you come across this companion. I'm going to get him to re-describe himself, but like I was explaining just before Nibs got here, this is the dwarf that you guys met on the road in our first ever adventure. So you've met him before and you've spoken to him. He's been staying with Bilbo for a while, but now he's finally come out with you guys to get this very important letter to Stockbrook. So Floy, son of Groin, can you just give us a brief description of yourself, please?
Yeah, Floy's a dwarf, evidently. He's thick set, he's got long brown hair and a beard. He's wearing leather armour, he's got a bow slung across his back, and an axe and a shield hanging off him. Looks quite grumpy, tapping his foot. Looks like he wants to get moving a bit. Ah, so you're my companions for the road. I can't see anything, Grim, by the way. The screen's just black.
Oh, okay. I bet your token's not got sight. Let me fix that for you. There we go.
Cool.
So yeah, the dwarf steps forward and asks you if you're his companions. Would you guys like to introduce yourself?
Yes, we are, Master Dwarf. Falco, a young dwarf, brown hair, baby face for hobbit.
Yeah.
Pretty worn and tattered clothing, holding a large treasure chest over on his shoulder.
Yeah, you see Floyd look at the chest.
Nibs, not wise. At your service, Master Dwarf. Well met. Happy to be traveling with you. You can call me Nibs. Nibs is older hobbit. He's still covered in dust and soot from the mine. So you can't really see much of his face, but it's kind of caked in his beard. He's got very blue eyes, and yeah, he's wearing sort of traveling clothes. Got a little walking stick with him.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Dibs.
And pleased to meet you.
Ted will start up and go, Tiliquin Reuven Silverleaf.
Greetings, Alf.
That's it.
Our halflings can instantly probably appreciate the slight tension between these two in a classic Lord of the Rings fashion, of course. Okay, well, let me head over to the map. So as you can see, you have quite the journey. It is literally the opposite side of the Shire. This river here that you can see on the edge, this is Brandywine River, or Stockbrook River, depending on which part you're on. So just over here is actually Bree. And you guys are right at the other side of the Shire, and you've been told to stay off the main road. Normally you'd have quite an easy journey, kind of travelling up on the road, but now you're going to be cutting across fields, going near Tuck Bank, and going through the woody end. And heading up there to the farm of Burlong. So would you guys be interested in taking the velocipedes then?
Sure would.
Gibbs is certainly dubious, but I think he sees the sense. Yeah.
I mean, would that be functional for a dwarf?
I think for our dwarf and elf characters,
I mean,
it is functional, but you are going to look rather silly. That's what the book says.
I'm not riding one of them. What do you take me for? I'm making a fool of myself in front of all you halfling hobbit types. We'd be better off on foot anyway. They're not built for cross country. Look at tyres. You'll all be falling off.
I mean, we could just take the main road anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Also, let's be honest, Dwarf, it's not the velocipedes that make you look stupid. Let's be honest about this.
There's you with them ears. Pinning at something with them. Bloody hells. Can't trust them.
Shuddering under his breath.
Fine. Yeah, Ted hears it all. It's like that classic scene, where it's just like, a dwarf breathes so loudly, we could kill. You could shoot him in the dark.
Yeah, I think Floyd's going to be like, I know you can hear me, Alf, when I'm pointing abominations on my side here, right?
Well, who is taking Velocipede then? The dwarf has proudly said no, so he might be lagging behind the rest of our adventurers. What about you there, Ted? Are you okay?
Ted thinks this is like literally children's playthings. Everything he's had so far has just been like an absolute doddle. It's like, oh, there were some orcs. Not like we're not used to dealing with those. Okay, moving on. It's like, he's just like, what else? Let's carry on. Let's see where this goes.
What about our two hobbits then? Would you be taking the bicycles, the penny farthings?
Yep.
Would they be able to go off road?
Yeah. I mean, while this is off road, there is also a beaten footpath essentially. So it's not like full on, dirt biking out in the wilderness. There is a footpath that cuts across the country fields, but no one barely uses it essentially. So it's okay. You would be able to use it in this area.
We could theoretically follow the mayor's instructions on the penny farthing philosophy.
Okay. Well, for our two characters that are taking them then, you need to start off the game by doing an athletics test to not look foolish.
Oh, Ted doesn't care about looking foolish.
This dung sniffing tosser.
Well, do one anyway, just in case you pull it off on the first try.
No,
Ted, you got an Eye of
Sauron.
Sauron!
No. It makes sense. Like, he's a lanky elf trying to use a stubby, hobbit's device.
Yeah, I think Floyd's just stood there laughing at you.
I think the elf quickly
holding
crashes
his
into
belly.
a wall. With an Eye of Sauron, I think he crashes into a wall and nearly comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're really good on them, elves.
I'm quicker
So
on my
you've
feet
done it
than these
before.
are. But,
Oh my goodness. I'm afraid Nibs and Falco, you've not fared much better. Better than the elf, I guess. But the pair of you also are off to a very wobbly start as you learn to ride these bicycles. And there isn't really any consequences here. Apart from it is added to the conspirators' lists of gossip, essentially. So people now are going to be talking about how terrible you are on velocipedes as well. How embarrassing. Your status in the Shire is dropping and dropping as it was. Okay. Well then, our adventurers then set out on the beaten footpath to try and get to Fermalon. So let me read the entry from the book here. From your first hours on the road, you realise that Odo told you seems right. More bounders, and this especially stands out to you Nibs, than usual are out making their rounds, which is a bit suspicious. Almost like they're expecting some kind of trouble. So you have no other choice but to stay off the roads, and this means riding along the well-trodden country paths and tracks, heading east towards Whitwell and Tuckland and beyond. But what could be little more than an extended walking party soon proves troublesome. You've set out on your postman duties across the Shire without too many provisions, save for the few bits you managed to take from the cellar. Stale bread, cheese and a few apples from beneath the town hall at Mickledelving. And this problem is, for some of our adventurers, is of capital importance as we set out on the road. So, and to make matters a little worse, on our first day, I'm afraid that the terrible weather does actually begin to come back as well. You guys find yourself caught in horrible rain, which does not bode very well for the rest of your short adventure. So I'd like our characters to do a travel roll, please. You gain an additional 2 points of fatigue if you fail, but if you have the bike, if you're using the bike, you get an extra 1 dice to your travel test.
At this point, did we get a long rest or a short rest in the prison Mickledelving?
Yeah, we'll say so. We'll say you.
Because I'm just asking, does that replenish our hope? Is what I'm asking, basically.
I believe. Oh, actually, that's a very good point. You only get hope back in the fellowship phase, but you actually get 1 point of hope back for being set out of prison. So everyone can add a hope to their character sheet as well, apart from our dwarf.
Yeah.
Sorry, what type of check are we doing?
A travel, sir.
So.
Travel with an extra bonus dice.
Great
And
success!
how do I... Ooh, nice. How do I add the extra travel dice again? Or the extra dice again?
Yeah, so if you click on the test, it brings up that secondary box. And then you should just see bonus dice. And then you should be able to click on that there for you.
Got it. Thank you. Still failed.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, all of our other party members have passed, which is very rare for travel tests. I'm afraid then, Nibs. We also need to roll a d20.
Well, did I get a 6? Because I can't see. For some reason, my dice tokens have gone to the weird image things for me. So,
Okay.
Do
Yeah,
I
you
get-
have got a 6, yeah.
well, I can use that to give a success, right?
I think so. I think you could.
I can
you might be
add
able to
an
help
additional
someone along.
success, right?
To someone else or your own test. Let me just.
Cancel a failure. If a school roll involves multiple players, you may help another player here who failed the roll and is considered a success.
Sure. Yeah, no problem. So you can cancel out one of Nibs's dice and give them a bonus.
Yeah. So basically, the school roll whatever it was, and is considered a success. So basically, he succeeds. He is now with us.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Amazing.
I'm literally looking at your
Thank
rules roll, rules question table. I was like, I couldn't find it quick enough in the book, so I was like, that'll do.
Yeah, it's in there. I've pinned most of the stuff in the rules questions, but yeah, no, great seat. Great addition, thank you. So we've rolled an 8, which means you guys are basically testing against 3 fatigue, essentially, but with the extra 2 from the weather. So you do still get some though, don't you? Even with a success, I think.
Depends. So I got a 6, but did I get? Is it just the 1 6 I got, or
Yeah, just
1
the
6.
The 1
Okay,
6.
cool.
So you'd get 1 fatigue. Our dwarf would get 1 fatigue. Nibs, you turn into a pass, so you'd get 1 fatigue. And then Falco, you'd also get 1 fatigue. So it's still quite tiring to kind of get across this first section as it was of our journey, and then that brings us upon our first kind of encounter. As our bellies are beginning to rumble as we quickly go through the rations that are available to us, or at least the hobbits do, to say the least, and as they're quickly looking for a second breakfast. So, what you guys come across then, as you're cutting across country, is a hobbit having a good fish in a good old fishing hole near the town of Tuckbrook. And he looks quite startled to see the 4 of you kind of come down the beaten path as it was. But he quickly regains his composure. He's smoking a pipe and he's got some fishing rods next to him. And he kind of looks at the group very curiously for a moment. Oh, hello there! You gave me a fright.
Sorry, good sir, that was not our intention. Good afternoon.
Good
Have you caught
afternoon.
anything?
Oh, I'm afraid he's not as good as my brother. The name's Brongo Tuck. Nice to meet you all.
I'm Floyd, a wanderer, son of Groin. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure to meet your acquaintance, dwarf. Us Tooks are often associating with your kind, and
Aye, I thought I recognised your name.
well, quite famous is around these parts.
I imagine you are.
And Nibs and Falco, you probably know this hobbit. He's one of the younger sons of the Took family. He's not a black sheep, but he's considered a little useless, to be fair, which is why he's probably down here fishing, and it doesn't really look like he's caught anything. As Falco and Nibs, my, I've heard a lot of interesting things about you in the last few days.
Oh, Brongo. Yes, good to see you.
Yep. Trying to make something of myself before I meet my family.
He laughs. Oh, I heard you got
You
yourself.
Tooks, you know all about you know all about starting stories in the Shire, don't you?
Oh, well, I suppose you could say so. Well, I can't even catch a fish, let alone start my own story. And then he looks over.
Well, just like the fish, sometimes the story finds you. Isn't that the way?
I hope so. Quite bored I am of this Shire life. Not that a lot of people would want me to hear me say that, of course. And that must be the tall stranger that's been causing all this trouble in town. As he looks over at you, Ted.
Not quite. I've just rescued one of your compatriots, battled some orcs, and apparently we've come into some money. So that's about it, really.
They're always causing trouble around boats or elves.
Yes. Fry meat. No. Ted bites his tongue. He's like, no, that'd be too quick, too far. That'd be an escalation. Let's just leave it where it is.
You get the impression, Ted, that this dwarf has a lot more to say. Well, Bungo notices that you guys are travelling pretty light, which is no way for hobbits to travel. Well, I'd offer you a bite to eat, but I don't think I haven't caught anything. You're welcome to try yourselves. I got some spare rods here. I was supposed to be meeting my cousins, but they've not turned out today. Any of you fancy trying to catch a fish?
I know my way around a lure. Let's give it a go. Nibs kind of spits on his palms and rubs them together as he picks up a rod, tests the weight of it.
Yeah, it's decent. It's quite a cheap rod. It is literally just a stick with a string on the end. No fancy reel or anything like that. But it'll get the
can
job
Ted
done.
try to bowfish?
Yeah, I love that idea. That's awesome.
He'll tie some not nice elven rope around one of his arrows, and he'll try and bowfish.
Sweet.
Loyal try and fish with a rod.
Okay. What about you, Falco?
I'll
You,
try me on.
Sure,
Did you
I
ever
always
go?
got time to fish. Good fish is always something you need, especially for like my brother Dolphin. He loved fish.
dear. He bites his tongue, does the toot comment. He doesn't want to get into your family history. Anyone who wants to fish then, it says in the book, anyone fishing with a fishing rod could do a hunting roll with an extra D6. I'll let you add an extra D6, Ted, because you're using your special elven rope, and I think it fits in this circumstance. So everyone can do a hunting roll with an extra bonus dice, and I wish you the best of luck.
Ooh. Wow! Really? Really? The
3
chances
ones!
of that. A 4,
Not
a
doing
1,
so well
a
there,
1, and a 1.
Oh, that's unlucky, Ted.
Do I have to add the bonus dice value, or just the same as before? Just click an extra dice, one to the right.
Click an extra dice, my friend. Oh, awesome! Okay, well, the dwarf manages with a Gandalf dice to hook on a rather large fish that he pulls out. But I think Nibs manages to top him with a Gandalf and a 6. So with that 6, you could do something special. You could widen your influence, make it so everyone knows that you're a really good fisherman. Or you could give someone a success on their dice and help them catch a fish.
I think maybe he'll give Ted a little few tips from the Shire. He kind of knows the hours and the types of lures and where in the pond that these types of Shire fish like to kind of hang out, and maybe he'll try to help Ted bowfish.
Okay, fair enough. So does that add a D6 or does that just add a 6?
Just makes it a success, so you
Just makes
cancel
it
a
a
failure,
success.
basically. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right then. Well, Ted, with Nibs guiding you, then you also managed to hook up a decent-sized fish. Meanwhile, Falco, I'm afraid nothing tugs on your rod. Not even your dead brother.
There has to be one that makes the rest of us look good, right? If we all do it, then it's just nothing. But somebody has to fail in order for us to look good.
That is true. Oh, what are you good at? You're all naturals.
Aye. Looks like we're all good. Even the elf did alright with a bit of help.
I'm not used to these rivers, so it's always appreciated to have a bit of local knowledge. I'm sure you would do expertly well in the forest of Thangorn or Mirkwood. I have no doubt of your dwarven skills.
Aye. He just goes, aye, just looks away.
Awesome. Well, Bungo, yeah, you must admit I'm rather impressed. You can keep those rods if you like. Me and my cousins can make some more quite easily. They're all from Stockbrook, you see, lots of rods there. You never know when a good fishing rod might come in handy.
Ah, you never do. Thank you. Very much
Appreciate it.
appreciated, Mr. Robert.
I don't suppose one of you would mind giving me a fish, though. Just so, I don't go home empty-handed.
Ted will instantly just chuck him his fish.
Oh, you're not as bad as people are saying.
No, we're not quite as gluttonous as our stouter friends, and he'll judge to the dwarf, and he says, "We don't need to eat as often." So.
That's why they're so skinny and tall.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and if you wouldn't mind, if anyone ever asks, you tell them that Bungo caught this fish, alright?
Oh, sure, Bungo. I'm sure that everyone on the road will be stopping us to ask about how many fish you caught, but we'll be sure to tell them.
Well, thank you, Nibs. I'll ignore all the gossip that's going around, and I'll stop spreading it myself now.
He gives him a little wink and kind of taps his nose.
Well then, with that he heads off. He heads off down the winding path back to Took Bank, letting you guys carry on your adventure. At least now you've got something to eat, I suppose, as we're going to probably have to have a bit of a stop now ourselves, and a little bit of a camp for the evening, as you're about a third of the way through your journey. So yeah, very quickly then, we have to get a fire going, essentially. So a craft roll, or a travel roll, or a hunting roll would be pretty good at that. And then you can also assist the person who's trying.
Floyd will start the fire.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Floyd, give me a craft roll.
Hunting roll.
And I guess Nibs is going to give you an assist, because Nibs is quite used to being outdoors.
Right. So is that support from a companion, yeah?
Yep, so just give yourself an extra bonus dice, or click that switch.
Nice, yeah.
Excellent!
There, you've
Well
done a good job there, Mr. Nibs.
Very good. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, nice roaring fire gets going right next to a nice little stream. Well, I believe I've got some other music to play for this scene, so just hang on a second. There we are. The rain is a slight drizzle now. Nothing too bad, but it is still a bit of a nuisance. But you still managed to get the nice fire going. Nice little stream going by. But you realise you haven't really got enough food to kind of feed everyone. You've only really got 2 fish. So, I mean, there's a couple of options for you guys here. You could go foraging, see what else you could find. Or one of you could even sneak into Tookbrook and steal some food. But that's very un-Hobbit-like. Very, very un-Hobbit-like. And, or of course you could just go to bed hungry.
I think Nibs would try to see if he could maybe bait a few snares in the area, see if he can maybe catch a rabbit or something.
Okay, fair enough. Do another hunting roll then, Nibs.
Folk will assist. He spent a lot of time scavenging for food when his father locked the door on him.
Okay. Are you hunting or are you looking for berries?
Looking for berries.
Looking for berries. Okay. So Falco, you can do a travel roll, or a scan, or an explore, and then Nibs for you, it's another hunting roll. Oh, Nibs, well done. Well done, Falco, with 2 successes.
Wow. Extraordinary success.
Nice.
Yeah, you two have done really well. So Nibs, you catch a rather fat rabbit as you bring it back to the camp, and then Falco, you actually come across a blackberry bush that's kind of hidden away behind some other foliage, and it's beautifully ripe. And with an extraordinary success, I'll even give you some extra rations for tomorrow as well. Well done. As you come back to the fire.
Beautiful. Nibs comes back with a little rabbit, and he I think they emerge from the bushes like at the same time, and he sees Folko just with his arms just laden with blackberries, and they just give each other a big, knowing hobbit smile that they're gonna have a good meal tonight.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, blackberries and rabbit, that's actually quite a nice combination. That and a couple of fried fish over a stick means none of us actually go to bed hungry tonight, which is fantastic because you lost a hope otherwise. So you guys are having quite a nice feast here then. And Ted, you're feeling quite nice back out in the forest, placing out your bedroll under a nice setting sun. And how does Floyd feel about camping out outdoors?
He's done quite a lot of it. It doesn't really affect him that much. Occasionally he's a bit worried about the bigness of the sky, but he can cope with it.
Okay. Well, sneaking up to the camp while you guys are enjoying a nice meal is what appears to be a family of squirrels as they kind of wait on the edge of the camp. You get the impression that they want you to share your rations with them, as they look quite hungry themselves. Would you share some of the extra things you got, or would you be keeping on to them?
I'd say Nibs has a pretty good relationship with the animals and the creatures of the forest, and he would toss them some blackberries from his plate for sure.
Ted
Nice.
likewise, very much a treat nature well, nature treats you well type thing.
Fantastic. Well, the squirrels are very, very happy with that. And they take some of the blackberries and they scarper back off up the nearest tree. As you're going to get some good karma for helping those squirrels a bit later on. And yeah, eventually then our characters can doze off and get some sleep. Unless there's any more role plays to be done around the fire.
Ted would probably try and keep watch. So, like, he might try and sleep whilst the others are still up and about and everything. And then try and take a watch just to make sure, as we're out in the wilderness, that nothing's going to sneak up. Especially if there's tales of wargs and things that have been kind of doing the rounds. Yeah, it's
I
just,
think maybe we should set a watch, take it in turns. Or does that sound?
Nibs was didn't sleep very comfortably in the cell. He's a lot more comfortable outside. So he's probably, as soon as his belly was full, he's probably nodded off, just sitting there, and you guys can gently hear him snoring by the campfire in his seat.
So, well, should we take turns in the watch?
yes, that's fine. We can take turns. Do you want to take first or last?
I'll take first watch. Prefer to take the first one.
Ted kind of like gets comfortable, pulls his sort of like a cloak over him, wraps himself up tight. He's somewhat camouflaged in with his like sort of motley coloured cloak that for the first time, like obviously, especially yourself, Floyd, you realise that's probably done on purpose.
Yeah.
And there's a very fine netting spread across it at the moment, not fulfilled, just there.
Yeah. Camouflage again.
Okay, fair enough. I guess both of our hobbits then curl up near the fire, their bellies full, and get some nice sleep while our dwarf and elf take turns on the watch. And you know, the Shire is probably one of the tamest places in Middle Earth, but there has been a lot of strange stories going around recently of wargs and wolves that have come down starving from the hills. Might explain why there's been so many bounders out and about, which is very strange for the Shire. But luckily, there's no excitement in the night, and it kind of passes very nicely as our elf and dwarf take it in turns to get some sleep and are not disturbed. As in the morning, the four of you can wake up. The fire's gone out, and there's a little bit of smoke coming up from it. You can pack your packs and head back off for the rest of the journey. Okay, so we need then. I'm going to roll a d12, and I'm going to see what's coming up here. The bad weather has actually stopped for now, as the nice sun kind of breaks through, and we rolled a 5. So we're fighting against 2 fatigue points essentially. So everyone needs to do another travel roll, please. Okay. So you'll take 1 there, Falco. Mr. Dwarf, you'll take 2. 2 fatigue.
Do we still get the extra point for using the little halfpenny devices?
Yes, sir.
Where does the
Hey,
fatigue
both
go?
rolls have been both sides of the dice today. 7, 1, and 2, and then like successes.
I believe it's next to endurance. Just next to endurance, I think there's a little fatigue box.
Right, I get you. Yeah.
Yeah, because it counts as towards your endurance limit. Well, Ted, maybe your luck will improve as you're going to get 2 fatigue as well.
2 additional fatigue.
No, just 2 fatigue in total.
Yeah, cool.
And then you should have rolled an extra
Do you
d6 Nibs.
just subtract? Do you just subtract from the endurance to add?
No, I believe next to the endurance, it's load. Next to load, there's a little fatigue
All right.
Okay.
box. My mistake, sorry.
It does actually add up as well. So, like when you take damage and your endurance goes down, your load. So, like my load's now gone up to 11 from 9, and then as your endurance goes down, it means you can become weary and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But we should have got a prolonged rest or a short rest.
I think we'll count that as a short rest. What does a short rest give you? Let me just double check. 'Cause I'm a little unfamiliar with that myself. So a short rest. So under most circumstances, blah blah blah. 1 short rest in the day, precise time in short rest. With a short rest, you recover a number of lost endurance points equal to your strength. Wounded heroes do not recover any at all. So I guess it wouldn't make too much of a difference then. I guess it doesn't help with your fatigue. I guess it just helps with your endurance.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'll copy and paste it after the game. Stick that in there. Stick that in the chat. Okay, fantastic. Well then, this gets you guys right up then to the edge of the woods, essentially at Woody End. And everyone could just do a lore roll if you can. Okay, so Nibs and our elf. I guess that makes sense. Nibs, what you kind of know about this forest is it's very, very old, very, very ancient. And it's quite mysterious, and there's actually a few barrows here as well. as it connects to the Barrow Downs. And what a barrow is obviously it's from an age long ago. Old kings and warriors of prestige would kind of make a barrow, which is like a grave, and put themselves in it with their belongings. And the Woody End, it's rumoured to be occasionally haunted, but no one pays any attention to it. A lot of hobbits kind of come through here, not day to day, but they make safe travels through here, and you don't really hear that much of a fuss. The trees are also rumoured to be alive, Ted, as well, as I'm sure you're well aware as a wood elf. Not to cause any a Mirkwood elf, not to cause any kind of problems here for the trees. And I think they get the sense, Ted, they don't really like the dwarf walking around with his axe. As you enter the woods, you can hear different creaks and noises that kind of represent that.
Ted will probably pass that on and just be like, it might be wise for you to sheath that, given our current company, and you'll kind of like gesture to the trees.
I'll frown and put it through my belt.
Okay. So, it says then here now, upon entering the woods, how have your characters treated the animals so far in the starter adventure? You've been pretty kind to them, really, apart from that time Falco tried to kill that badger. I think apart from that, it's been okay. So, as it says here, if in the majority of cases the animals were treated kindly and shown compassion, then the player heroes find their journey in the forest light and easy, discovering conventional berry bushes along the road, allowing them to eat, and finding the finch of songs reaching into their heart. And all our heroes can restore 1 point of hope, which I'm sure will come in handy.
It's always worrying. It's like when you go, in a game, you go to a cave entrance and there's health potions at the entrance to the cave. You're like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
Awesome. Okay, well, as our characters are now settle down for another camp, just at the edge of the forest. As you're going to set up camp, you don't need to do an awareness roll or anything, but you see two tall, hooded figures coming over to your direction. They've got black cloaks on, surrounding their body, and two black hoods covering their face. They've got bows and a variety of weapons hanging from their belt. They look well travelled and well trodden as they approach the adventurers in a non-threatening manner, of course. But strangers can sometimes be bad news. How would our characters react as these two men begin to walk up to you out of the forest?
Ted's probably knocking an arrow and taking a couple of steps towards the rear of the group, just so that then, if there's a confrontation, he can draw and fire without being muddled up. But he's not overtly he's not drawing it back, if that makes sense. He's just being ready in case something happens.
Yep. Okay. Makes sense.
Floyd's going to greet him. Ahoy, strangers! What can we do for you?
No. Hello there. Didn't think we'd see anyone in these parts of the forest.
Neither did we.
You friendly? Yeah.
I think so. Although there's been mixed reviews. Not too sure about the else.
One of them turns to you and gives you a very respectful bow, Ted.
Okay, so he would then slowly, place the arrow back in his quiver, and just kind of nod, a deep nod, but not quite a bow, just kind of showing like, okay, cool, let's just keep it that way.
What would our two hobbits be thinking of these two strangers on the road? What about you, Nibs?
Nibs is definitely a little wary of these strangers, but he just kind of holds his walking stick tightly, and he sort of stops walking as they approach.
Okay. And Nibs, you'd know it's pretty unconventional to see two men kind of walking around the woody end, especially in such a suspicious nature. You know, this is something you'd probably have to report if you were out doing your bounders duties.
I think he's making a mental catalog of their description if he had to report it, and he's at the ready. His senses are highly alert. His hackles are up.
Okay. And what about you, Falco? What do you think of these two strangers?
Falco's looks, I haven't seen menfolk in a while, but everyone else seems a little on edge, so he has the club ready. Not sure what's going to happen.
Okay. Well, one of the men then looks down at the two halflings that clearly look a little tense, and there's no need to fear, little ones. We don't want to cause any problems. We came to suggest we set a campfire for the evening. More the merrier, eh?
Sounds like a good idea in these parts.
Well, we've all heard tales of the woody end. I'm sure none of them are true. We're just collecting firewood. We found a good spot. We'll share our game with you if you share a tale or two with us.
Be glad to. I think we've got some berries and stuff we can share.
Excellent. The two men kind of take their hoods down. I'm Arith, and this is my brother Erlen. Nice to meet you both. Well, all here. He looks up at the rest of the group. Come sit down by the fire. I'm a bit of an expert at getting these things going. I'll have it hot in a jiff.
We need nice warm fire.
Yeah, the ranger quickly gets a fire going, and the other ranger sits back and begins to light his pipe as he blows a smoke ring up into the air. And they've got some rabbits kind of hanging from their belt, and also a fox, and a few berries themselves. As one of them begins to kind of gut and clean the rabbit, as the other one gets the fire going. And
Can Nibs tell what kind of tobacco they're smoking? He's going to weigh heavily his opinion of who these people are based on the quality of their tobacco.
Oh, I think if you do me a let's see what you've got, Nibs. Do me an awareness roll, Nibs, I guess, as you're kind of sniffing the air.
Okay.
Oh, you're not too sure. It doesn't smell like old Toby or Silverleaf, that's for sure. Maybe some strange
Some
brand.
foreign, strange brand. Okay. Okay, he's still dubious. Yeah.
Ted's gonna like kind of try and because they look like rangers, right?
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So Ted's gonna say, "What brings you fair fellows so far out west?"
Ah. What do you think, Aelin? Should we tell him? Yeah, I don't see why not. Seem like a friendly bunch. Well, we're looking for something of quite importance. Rumour is that there's a barrow around here. An old ancestor of ours, buried with a sword. The sword of Aranath. The king's sword, in our tongue. We want to recover it. We're just searching now for the barrow. Been searching for days, haven't we? Yeah. No luck so far. You haven't seen a barrow, have you?
I personally have not walked these grounds yet, but some of my fellowship here may be able to assist. I must inquire though, what aside from sentimental value, what is your business with the King's Sword?
They both look at each other and then look back. It's said to have special properties against fine creatures of shadow, if you believe in such creatures, of course. Have any of you heard of the trouble that's brewing down south?
I know.
And he stokes the fire a little bit. Yeah, there's rumours. A great evil is stirring again in the southern lands. Threatening Gondor, they say. Won't be long until it spreads up here, like the old days. So they say, of course. I don't think I believe it. I do. Yeah, you've always been a downer, haven't you, Aerith?
Ted just kind of says, "You'd be wise to. Rumours are more often than not cautionary tales, but cautionary tales have some truth. So just, believe them, don't believe them, but be wary of it, no matter the
No,
case."
we don't want to return to them days.
No, we don't. We're just making sure we've got what we need if it does come to this. Not only
Seems a
that,
sensible precaution.
yeah.
We've had some success searching for treasure before, so I don't see why we can't do it again. He looks to the hobbits.
Nibs does know where some of these barrows are, right? In this area, he has some idea.
I guess so. I mean, it does say to make an explore roll to see if you've been in these parts before and found out. So if you could do that, that'd be great. But I'm going to give you a bonus dice because you are a bounder, and it would make sense that you've travelled around here before.
Yeah, I think so. And the lore roll, right?
Yeah. You
something
also got a lore roll. With that extra D6 you got, I'll let you add another 6 to this test.
All right.
Well, another dice.
What am I rolling?
It says in the book an explore roll.
Explore. Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
unlucky. Very unlucky.
It's isn't wise to go wandering too close to the barrows, in my experience.
Wise words, little one. Wise words. What about...
He looks to the group to see, and what their feeling is about these guys and their quest for a potentially cursed blade. He doesn't like to go too close to the barrows of these things, but he's looking to see what the rest of these guys think of this proposal.
Floy looks quite interested.
Mm-hmm.
So does Grub. He said, stories of rangers and trouble brewing, and this thing he's looking to make a name for himself.
He sort of sighs to himself and he kind of just mutters, "Oh boy, here we go again."
Sounds
I
like
suppose
a
we
worthy quest
could,
you gentlemen are on.
And what about you? You kind travellers. Why are you out here in the forest? Why come you not sticking to the roads?
We're delivering a letter.
A secret letter.
He says secret.
Floyd just looks at you.
Nibs just gives him a little elbow in the ribs. He says, "Weren't supposed to say it was a secret. That's the quiet part."
But they're not bounders. They're rangers.
What's so secret about the letter, if you don't mind me asking?
We don't know because it's a secret.
You're telling me you've not opened it and had a look?
I was asked to deliver a letter. I'm an honourable dwarf. What's the matter to do?
Fair enough.
I mean, whilst that is a bit of an oxymoron, I do concur.
Well, how come you're not stuck to the roads? Is it really that much of a secret no one can even see ya?
Well, we're really not well liked at the moment.
Whoa, Teddy's just like, whoa. Let's be very clear here. As much as my stouter, less eloquent, less well dressed, he just like runs off with these like detrimental things. Dwarf friend and I here, we're not really in the same mess as they are. Our younger friends here, size doesn't seem to impede their rambunctious nature and ability to get in trouble, it would seem.
These two
What
get in
my
trouble.
lanky beanpole companion, who can't even grow a beard, was saying is right.
These two don't look like troublemakers. Although this one does have a strange glint in his eye as he looks at Falco. You're an excitable pair, eh?
Who were they talking to? Who was that last one? Two.
Got
Just
a bit.
of both of you in general.
Ah.
I've heard
Well,
about
it's
you
like-
little folk. Oh, sorry, carry on.
No, you go first. You go first.
Yeah, we heard about you little folk. Keeping yourselves to yourselves at your borders. Don't really blame you. What's going on out there in the wider lands, you're probably a lot better off in here. Us rangers will keep your borders safe, don't worry.
I think that Nibs sort of takes that as a personal affront to the bounders in general. And he says, "Well, we're quite respectable hobbits, and we like to keep it that way, but we're perfectly capable of protecting our own boundaries and territory. Thank you very much."
Yeah, we killed a couple of orcs a couple days ago.
The rangers just look at each other like they don't believe you at all.
Ted's just going to kind of mime out like they were small and a bit skinny. They weren't, like. So
Somebody else that killed.
No, I took one's head off straight with clean shots. Tell him, Elf.
To be fair, he did manage to get one clean off with a decent shot.
Oh, you are a you are a menacing little thing after all, aren't you? I meant no offence, Bounder. Just said we keep the larger threats at bay. Isn't that right, brother?
So I'm no bounder, just a real old hobbit trying to make his way in this world.
Well, I bet you are. And well, we'll spread rumours south that if the evil comes this far north, I've got you two to contend with, eh?
That should scare him off.
Well, what about you two anyway? You're far from Miss Endrel, aren't you? To look at you, Ted. Yeah, sorry, Immeladris. Far from Immeladris.
Yes, a friend has asked for some assistance, and I think I now understand why. And he kind of gestures to the two hobbits, and he's like, "So I came down, and it's a break from dealing with the ill and their ilk in Mirkwood. So it's felt like a pleasant change and been amusing so far." Have you seen, and you point to like the halfpenny style things, and just be like, "Have you seen those? They're brilliant."
Sorry, you point to what, the stars?
No, the halfpenny, like, cycling machine.
Oh,
things.
right, yeah. The Rangers look on, and they are quite intrigued as Aaron says, "Yeah, we've seen them before. Everyone's using them in Gondor. We haven't had a go yet. I'd rather keep my eggs on the ground. What are they like?"
You could definitely move faster on foot, but they're interesting. They're fun. If nothing else.
Thought your kind were quite serious. It's nice to know that you can have a good fun as well.
Kind of depends on which folk you're lumping me in with. Those of Linden, probably not so much fun. Those of Mirkwood, much more so.
And what about you, good dwarf? Whereabouts have you travelled from?
I've come from Lonely Mountain.
Ooh, that's some distance, isn't it?
Aye, it's a fair way. I've been asked to check in on a friend of a friend and been staying with him for a while. And he asked me to deliver a letter, so that's what I'm doing. And these two little fellas, pointing at the hobbits, they're apparently part of the local postal service.
Right. Well, an interesting band of travellers. We're fortunate to have come on you on the road.
And we
Well then, brother, we better get some shut-eye if we're gonna find this Barra tomorrow. Yeah, I suppose you're right. You can finish the rabbit.
Thank you. I think Floyd's going to eat some more rabbit. Are you not keeping a watch?
I don't think there's much need, really. Besides, I've got a good sense for danger. What do you think, you two little ones? Any orcs sneaking up on us tonight?
No orcs, but there's been Like talking wolves and wargs around the past couple days.
Wolves and wargs? And the other brother says, yeah, I told you, Arith. Told you those tracks we found were fresh. Well, that is odd. We found some wolf tracks yesterday.
Yeah,
Maybe we should keep
Okay.
a watch after all.
I think we should. How far away were these tracks?
Well, deeper into the woods on the Stockbrook side. Is that where you're heading?
Yeah, we're heading to Stockbrook. I have to keep
an
our
eye
eyes out on the road.
Yeah, keep an eye out then.
We certainly will.
Alright, well I'll take first watch. You get some shut-eye, brother. Yeah, alright. I'll take last watch.
I don't mind taking a watch. Take the middle one if you want.
Very well, dwarf.
Ted would definitely help take a watch.
Well, more the merrier. You two do the middle
Nibs
ones,
is
eh?
also going to take a watch, but he's going to watch the. He still doesn't trust him.
Ah, okay. Fair enough, Nibs. Fair enough.
Sleep with one eye open.
If everyone's
Yeah.
taking a watch, Poke will also grab a watch.
Fair enough. Well then, the younger brother, Aelin, he'll roll up in his bedroll near the fire and get some sleep. And his older brother grabs a log and kind of drags it over and sits at his pipe as he sits looking out into the forest. While the rest of you guys, I guess, apart from Nibs, get some sleep. And Nibs, how come you're still a bit off about these guys? What's tingling your bounder senses, as it was?
I think he's just naturally a little bit distrustful of strangers and men and their cloaks and weapons and talk of barrows and cursed swords, and these are the type of folks he feels he's supposed to keep an eye on.
Okay, fair enough. Makes sense. Well then, if we're all basically taking it in turns for a watch, this man will go first, and then I guess the dwarf, and then Ted, then Falco, and then Nibs. I guess you'll take an official watch, but you're kind of staying up all night anyway, keeping an eye. And then the younger brother. And a couple of hours before daylight, while all of our other characters are asleep, apart from Nibs, the younger brother wakes up the other ranger. And both silently... Nibs, are you pretending to be asleep at the same time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. So they both wake each other up then, maybe an hour or two before daylight, grab their things very, very quietly, and head off into the forest, leaving you guys before you wake up. Would you say anything, Nibs, or are you going to let them go?
I think he'd wait until they were out of earshot, and then he would wake up full. And they've snuck off. See that? I knew they were up to something.
Well, probably ranger business. They were talking about barrows. They didn't want to have us help them fight the ghosts.
Getting an early start on the barrows, you think? I don't know. Seems fishy to me. I don't trust them.
You don't trust it. You don't trust anybody, Nibs.
Well, fair enough, but with good. I think maybe they'll sort of rouse the rest of the party just to just to let him know.
Okay. Well, the two hobbits wake up Ted and the dwarf then. A little early. The sun hasn't broke yet. And yeah, you wake up and the Rangers have gone.
Oh, well, they have business to be about. Floyd's quite vocal about how glad he is that they didn't wake him up before leaving. And were courteous enough to let him have a lie in.
Do you think we should follow them just to see what they're up to?
Why?
Unless they're following us, then we'd just be going in a circle.
Ted will try and track them.
Okay, so you want to see where they're going then?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, are we leaving immediately then? Are we letting the sun come up, or are we packing up our gear and going after these Rangers?
Right. Ted's up for leaving now, but he's waiting for,
Yeah.
he's not leading this party, so.
I guess, yeah, let's leave immediately.
Floyd will go along with the general sort of consensus, but he will be a bit grumbly about being dragged out of bed before the sun's up.
Okay. Well, you guys quickly get up then, douse out the fire and pack your beg rolls, and you set off probably about 20 minutes behind these Rangers, if that. And they appear to be going south into the woody end towards the Barrowlands, which is where they did say they were heading, to be fair. But they are quite hard to follow and track. They are Rangers themselves, so they know how to place their feet, and they know what terrain kind of gives off them the best kind of tracks, as it was, to leave. So if you guys want to follow them, then you are going to have to do a hunting roll to try and find them.
Okay, Ted will attempt that.
I will assist him to give him an extra d6.
My companion.
Me as well. Where they're going.
Okay.
I could only get one, but we'll take it. I'll chuck a hope into it, because why not? Oh, that really wasn't necessary. He's got a Gandalf and 2 successes, so I'm gonna go with the fact that I probably know where these guys are, and I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna use it, Gandalf, for the success. I'm going to go quietly, and potentially, I'm also going to gain insight, see if I can gather more what they're trying to do.
Excellent. Well, I'll give you a little bit of extra information then. So the elf is an expert tracker himself, as he quickly picks up the Ranger's trail. The dwarf grumpily lagging behind as he hates being dragged out, and the two hobbits with their interest perked. It seems like they followed the road a little bit, heading towards Stockbrook, but they detour south, heading towards the Barrowlands. And just on the edge of the Barrowlands, Ted, with those 2 successes, I'll give you some bits of information. You see both of the Rangers' tracks. It seems that they're stopped just on the tree line of the Barrowlands, like they were looking at the area and having a scout before they went in. You guys are kind of looking over. I do have a map for this actually. I was saving it for a minute, but I'll drag it over now so you've got a bit more of an idea. So you're not this close. You're a lot further back, kind of on the forest line, looking down at these barrows. And if you haven't seen them before, they are quite intimidating. They give off a very eerie sense, an eerie glow, almost as it was. And Ted, you find another set of tracks. Heavy booted tracks, plate armour. And then it vanishes. And then you follow the ranger, not rangers. There's one ranger who then backtracks on himself further back into the forest. So basically, to quickly draw, to give you guys a bit more of an idea, you follow these two rangers' tracks onto the tree line. Then you see, Ted, some other tracks, and then you see one set of ranger tracks head off. And this track and this track disappears.
Ted will kind of actually relay all of this and kind of, if nothing else, he'll actually try and, seeing that Nibs is a bit of a wild man himself, he'll try and kind of impart some of his knowledge and, kind of have a bit of a, just like, and this is how you can tell what type of armour they're wearing, blah, 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 like that sort of thing. Even though he knows Nibs is knowledgeable about this, just trying to, garner some more.
Yeah, Nibs is always up to learn. He's an avid student of tracking and loves the science of tracking. He enjoys the opportunity to learn, especially from an elf who are renowned for their tracking abilities.
Okay. So you guys are kind of stood. So you guys are kind of stood here at the moment then, as all this is getting pointed out. What's next for our characters?
Is this map visible only to Ted or to all of us? I can't quite.
What the one I've drawn?
Yeah, the one that we're looking down at the barrows.
Can you see the map? I think you can, can't you?
So so there's a map. There's a map of a barrow. There's a picture of a barrow, and then there is a white drawing. That's it.
Yeah. Can you see the screen, Nibs?
No, it's just grey for me.
What about now?
No, let me try to reload the page.
And so, did you have to log in when you joined today?
I did, and then when I went to refresh it, I had to log in again. But no, I still don't see it.
Yeah, you're on. Yeah, I had to do that.
Yeah, it might have just timed you out, Nibs. Sorry. Maybe it's working for you now.
Not quite, but it's okay. You guys can keep going. I'll try to log out and come back in.
You've definitely got a talking vision enabled, so I don't think it's anything on my end. I do apologise. I hope you can let me know if you can fix it, and one of us will try and stream for you. But I'm pretty sure a refresh or two will get it working.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, so you guys are on the edge of this tree line then, essentially, looking down. You can see, an armoured footprint, and then one of the rangers' footprints disappears, and then one of the rangers kind of goes this way. You can tell, though, Ted, the tracks going this way are very sporadic. Like, they're not even strides. Some feet were more heavy-footed, some were lighter. Looks very strange.
Does it look like somebody's fleeing, or does it look like somebody's stumbling? If you know what I mean. Does it look like somebody?
I think it's a combination.
Okay.
Does it look like there was an encounter of any kind? Something that changed at this point in the trail?
There's no blood or signs of like a fight or anything.
There's no blood. Yeah, I don't think there's any blood. But yeah, okay. I think there might be some signs of conflict. Then we'll say some of the ground is turned up where some footsteps might have been like heavy pressed in the mud, deflecting blows type thing. So there was definitely some kind of confrontation here, we'll say.
Do you think they're in trouble? Looks like there was some kind of confrontation here. See that heavy footstep there?
Maybe one of them got hurt and the other's carrying him.
Maybe. That would make sense with the uneven gait.
But
Not
Where
like
did
Ranger
this-
to just rip his ankle, though.
where did this person in
Right.
heavy armor come from?
And where did they go?
If only
Ted,
Cotton
would
Eye Joe was here.
Teddy will just defer to the group. He's kind of like, he's given as much detail, as much information as he can. It's kind of like he's around. His role in this, as he's deeming it, is he's protection for the hobbits. So whatever they want to do, he'll do.
What do you think, Folko? I don't much like the idea of getting caught up in the business of menfolk and swords of Arnath and all that, but it does look like these folks have had a bit of trouble. Did have my doubts about them, but they did share a good bit of rabbit.
Yeah,
I think
Guess
they...
they might need some help. I think we should follow them.
All right. Well, fair enough. You're a good-hearted hobbit.
A light rain begins to break out then, as I guess our party. Ted, you're going to follow this one set of tracks then?
Yeah, the one that's sort of with the uneven gait.
Yeah, I'll lead the group to kind of like following those tracks and figuring out, what's the next step basically.
No problem. Okay. Well, following the tracks then, they go on for a little while. The sun starts to come up as you've been doing this now for some time, and you come across Arnath, the elder ranger brother, and he's slumped next to a tree, half conscious.
I'll check around.
Nibs is going to approach him, come over and see if he's wounded.
As you go over to him, Nibs, he is wounded. He's not been stabbed, which is why there was no blood, but his armour is indented around his chest. It seems like something has hit him with incredible force. I guess if you had a look under his armour, you'd need to have a look under his armour to really know more about his injury.
I think he's not conscious now, right? Is he awake?
He's not awake. You might be able to wake him with a successful heal check.
Okay, he's gonna at least try to check under the breastplate and see if he's seriously injured. And should I do a healing roll? See if he can assess
yes.
the damage and maybe help him out?
Yeah. Do a healing roll and take an extra d6 because I guess someone will assist you.
I'll assist.
Oh, a great success. All right. With an extra d6 as well. Beautiful. Okay. So, you have a look under his mail shirt, and it's very bruised and a little bloody under here. It mainly looks like an impact wound, so maybe 2 or 3 of his ribs are broken, and they're pressing onto his lung. He is quite injured, to be fair. But with your great success, you managed to bring him away from the doors of death, as it was. So he's now in no danger of dying, and he does in fact open his eyes a little bit.
Easy there. Easy. Take it easy. You've taken a blow. And Nibs always carries some, kind of healing plants and herbs and things. He's going to just make like a little quick poultice by kind of chewing on a few of them, try to soothe the swelling at least.
Yeah, Mr. Ranger, you look almost as worse as my brother Ebbo after he was dragged down the road by a pig.
This isn't the time for the pig story with Evo. Give him out a moment. Easy there. Do we have any water? Can we give him a sip of water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of water, and he's very grateful for it. He takes it, and like an injured person would, it's kind of running out of his mouth. He's very weak.
Easy now. Easy.
Am I glad to see you again? Little hobbit. Thank you. You probably saved my life. He kind of looks around. My brother.
Yeah, we don't know where he is. What happened to you?
Something took him.
Something?
It all happened so fast. All I remember were these horrible empty eyes. He reached out and touched my brother, and he just fell unconscious. I've never seen anything like it. I drew my sword, but whatever it was so quick. Broke my ribs. If I'd have stayed, I'd have been killed. It was almost like a black shadow. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It must have taken my brother. Please, you have to rescue him. You have to find him.
Could it be some sort of ghost from these barrows, do you think?
I've never seen a barrow wraith before, or a barrow wight, so I can't say for sure, but possibly dwarf.
Where were you heading? Well,
Into the barrow.
okay. So you'd chosen which barrow you were going into and you were heading towards?
Yes. We were waiting on the tree line. We were looking out for anything, and we must have stuck up on us. We found the barrow of our ancestor. None of that matters now.
Well, I don't really know what we can do to help your brother.
Well, we follow the tracks and we beat this white down to the ground.
I looks at Nibs. I'm sorry if we were making fun of you last night. I regret it very much so. You and your friend have braver hearts than men.
Think nothing of it, no. It's all right. It's all right.
You know, Foco, with the tales you keep telling me, your family, it sounds like you don't really have the greatest amount of luck. So,
I mean, I've survived past my 4 brothers, 7 sisters, my mom. I'm still alive. So is my dad and my first brother, but they're not here.
oh, but you know, the odds are getting shorter for you, aren't they?
I mean, we took down some horses. Barrel White's not that different.
I'm just gonna look over at the elf in an exasperated fashion.
You have a stout heart, Foco. White's nothing to trifle with, that's for sure. Look at the dent in this armor.
And these men are trained warriors.
So we just leave his brother to die? That's not the Hobbit way. We chucked our own.
Right you are, Folko, right you are. Do they know anything about Whites, or even if it would be possible to?
Yeah, you can do a law roll.
What? Yeah.
You can do a law roll, and don't forget your shadow paths if you've got them, or your bonus perks. Everyone can go ahead and do one.
Right.
So I do have a thing for that. Shadow Law, you recognise the hidden... but I can tell we're thickening after a quality shared by the wise, the truth of the knowledge of becoming curse of time. So basically I think I know a bit more about Shadow Law stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I love that.
Yeah, Shadow Law.
And Path of Despair? I don't know if that's related.
That's my path as well. Path of Despair.
Yeah.
But it's quite a distinctive feature of a Shadow Law. So does that mean I get like advantage on the roll, or?
Yeah, I believe it's. I believe you either automatically just know stuff, or it becomes favoured. We'll go with favoured, and I'll give you some bits anyway.
No.
And while you're doing this, the ranger looks at you.
Nice.
2 successes.
Simply zero. Gwendeth immakin honesta. Nasi adaneth. And that is Sindarin. That is actually Sindarin as well. Saying, please honour the ancient bond between our kin. As he looks at you in the eyes and speaks Sindarin to you.
Mm.
Yeah, Ted will kind of nod.
So you know then if you pass the test, yeah. So Whites are basically the spirits of long dead warriors or kings that haven't quite settled. Or have settled and come to life when you're disrespecting their barrow, essentially, like breaking in. They're very weak in daylight, and any kind of light makes them weaker. They're very strong in darkness. One touch can knock a man unconscious, but they drag you back to the barrow and wait until you die, and then they'll make you work for them as a guard in the afterlife, to guard their tomb against other people that might think about breaking into their tomb. So basically, you get the impression that's probably what's happened to this man's brother. So it's quite a horrible fate, really. You're literally left unconscious until you basically starve to death and stop breathing.
Yeah, Ted will just kind of, obviously won't relay that to the brother, but we'll just kind of say, okay, we should probably hurry. I'm going to use, so obviously I've used the additional success to gain insight, obviously. I'm using the other one to do make haste, so that we can get there in a shorter time than expected.
Okay. Okay, well the elf wants to go then and honour the ancient bond between him and the Dunedain. What about our dwarf? Would you follow the elf?
I'm not feeling like I have a choice at the moment. I'm not happy about it.
I mean, the elf's going to go
Well,
with the
it's-
ground with an elf. To quote Lord of the Rings, an elf will go where a dwarf will not.
Exactly. There's that, and there's the whole. I'm quite intrigued about elves honouring their words. It seems something I've not come across before. So yeah, I'll go along.
Okay. What about you, Falco? You're just very foolhardy, aren't you? You're just ready to get to grips with this white, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they shared a meal. They're kin. Well, more kin than his actual family. Because they're either dead or he doesn't like them, so he's going to go save them.
And I guess at the back, maybe is Nibs. Nibs, how do you feel about all this?
Oh, I've gone and put my fat foot in it now, haven't I? Forgo an hour of sleep only to find myself tangling with a barrel white. Oh, well, we can't leave him to die, can we? Right, let's go.
Okay. Well
I
then,
didn't even get a lie.
you guys head back to the forest tree line then, overlooking the Barrow Downs. And we've been playing for 2 hours, guys, so at this point I always appreciate getting another drink and stretching my legs, rolling my eyes. So we'll take 10 minutes, fellas, and then we'll get back to it. I'll see you soon.
Cool. By the way, do you need me to keep streaming, or did you manage to get back on, buddy?
The only map that isn't loading is just the Barrow Downs one, but the other one after that did load
Okay,
fine.
Is it-
So.
Is it loaded now? Is this map loaded now? Has it failed to load again?
It's still the Barrow Downs map doesn't load, but the one where we found the other ranger loads fine.
That's so bizarre. Do let us know if it happens again, and I'm sure Ted will stream for you. But yeah, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, as
I'll
I
talk
said,
to
I'm
it.
streaming now. I'll just lock my PC as I walk away. But yeah, it's
Cool.
yeah, feel free. It's no problem.
Thank you very
It's
much, Ted.
Foundry though, isn't it?
I'll be right back, guys.
Foundry can be a bit weird at times, can't it?
Oh, thanks. Oh, cool.
Okay, then, guys, I'm back.
I'm here.
Sweet.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We'll see who we're missing. So I think we've got Nibs, we've got Falco, we've got Ted. I think we're just missing Floy, son of Groin. But we've still got a minute on our break, so I'm sure it won't be too far behind, and then we'll get on with this next bit of our adventure.
Oh, anyone back?
It's this is the that's the translator I use as well, Ted. I just posted it in the Game 1 chat. That's probably the best there is from what I can tell. But even then, there's not Sindarin words for every word in English, sadly. So you have to kind of be selective what you put into it sometimes. But yeah. All right, guys.
That was amazing. I thought you just had that phrase like in your hat, and I was so impressed. I'm still impressed. Yeah.
I mean, I had it pre-translated, but yeah, I didn't.
Nice.
I do use an internet thing. Sadly, I can't speak Sindarin.
No. Yes. Okay. Then I was right. I am thoroughly impressed. You just had that ready to go. That's amazing.
Awesome. I'm really glad you like those details. I am a bit of a nerd when it comes to Lord of the Rings, so.
Oh, I love those details, man. Just respect. You busted out the Sindarin. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. That does mean a lot. That really does. All right then, guys. Well, I think we're basically all back and ready to go. We've probably got about an hour, maybe an hour and a half left of our game this evening, as we're bringing it upon ourselves to essentially now sneak into a barrow. Well, I'm sure this can only end well.
I'm sure it can.
Okay.
Folko, this family tree is also hilarious.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay then. Well, adventurers, our story now takes a dark and sinister turn. For what was a simple letter drop-off has now suddenly turned into a fight for a man's life. A fight where we're all putting our own lives at risk. As you creep down the Barrowlands, it's fairly obvious that this place is not right. There's a strange fog and dark clouds hang above this place. You all get a very uneasy and eerie feeling. You feel like the dead are watching. Not that you can see them, but as you get closer to the barrow, it's almost like you can hear them whispering. Not that you can make out what they're saying, as the voices edge their way into your mind. Who's going to be the first to enter the barrow?
Focal will.
And that's how Falco died.
Club in one hand, sunstone in the other.
Okay. The
Well, he's actually just
foolhardy,
died.
brave hobbit just charges into the darkness. I guess
I'm
his,
going to follow him quickly.
I guess his youth and inexperience is probably one thing that's going for him, if not also against him, as the dwarf quickly follows, knowing the dangers, followed by
Nibs is gonna follow to keep an eye on Folko.
Okay. And then Ted last, looking over the rear. We all have our hands on our weapons as we enter the barrow.
Fogel would have tied the Sunstone to the Bull Roarers Club. Since
Okay, yeah. No problem. As we enter them, this is basically exactly what you see. Ancient stonework from a kingdom long gone. Pillars of intricate stones and shelves with long extinguished candles on. Strange sounds echo around the barrow as the mist itself takes the shape of hands as it claws at your legs. Very strange. As we edge further in, one by one the candles come on their own, glowing with an eerie green light. And this is enough to frighten anyone, let alone the sturdiest of adventurers. And I'd like everyone to do a valor roll, please, or lose 1 point of hope.
What type of roll? Valor?
So that's a valor roll. It's just, if you scroll to the top of your character sheet, it's just on the right hand side. So you see biography under your character's name. Just on the right hand side you see heroic stature. Under heroic stature you'll see valor. Ted, you arrive at the beginning of the dungeon when they give you potions. You know something's going to be bad. Okay. So yeah, it's very uneasy then. I guess for most of our characters as we pass through the barrow. Ted, are you there? I'm not sure if Ted suddenly just disconnected or something because he hasn't done the roll.
Yes, he just dropped
and
out.
and his cursor's at the other side of the screen. Okay, well, we'll have to move on and keep the immersion.
Yeah.
So we continue on then through the maze-like barrow, essentially. We come through this entrance, and then we come up some steps. And this is kind of what you see. More candles come on with a green, horrible, glinting glow as it seems to extend further on underground. The strange mist still lingering. Welcome back, Ted. Can you do me a valor roll, please, Ted, if that's okay?
Sorry, can I do what?
Can you just do a valor roll, please, sir, to lose 1 hope if you fail?
Valor roll, yeah, sure. Where do I roll that? Sorry.
No, that's okay. If it's at the top right of your
I see it.
character sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries, mate.
And just a straight roll, no D6, no nothing, no?
No, it's just a straight one. You get extra points when you get to put more points in your valor, so I guess you can't do that just yet.
Cool. Can I put a hope on it though?
You can do, but then if you fail, you'll lose a hope, so it might be pointless.
That's fair.
They're a bit awkward, these rolls, when you're the first level. When you're the second level, it gets a bit easier.
Oh, fuck off! I got a success die, but it didn't reach the target, so it didn't matter.
That's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah. You got the same, just sort of, it's like, yay, success, but no.
Just not enough, yeah.
So I lost a hope, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Look.
So then, as we carry on and these candles again flicker on, you all swear that you can see figures in the mist watching like old spirits. They don't seem to be able to cause you any particular harm. They're definitely very spooky. If everyone could just do me a scan roll, that'd be fantastic.
Scoundrel.
What's interesting is okay, that's probably not a skill roll, so that's fine.
Oh, what's up? You okay?
Yeah, it's because I've got that thing for the Folk of Dusk. I can use a hope die to give me success.
Oh,
But I was like, but the valor roll, I imagine that's not a skill roll, so that's different. That's what I was just saying.
okay. Fair. So yeah, the people that have passed the scan roll, which is Falco and Groin, you see that there's vines and roots that have kind of grown into this place. And if you were to maybe pull the vines and roots, you might actually disturb the barrow and let in some sunlight. You did understand that they are weak to light or whites. You're not sure if this is going to be all the way through the system, but you do notice that one particular detail as you guys begin to pass further on down and deep. Now this is where the order that I asked is kind of important. So we had Falco the lead, followed by the dwarf, followed by Nibs, followed by Tijuquin. So unfortunately, Master Dwarf, as we pass through the barrow, your weight, it wasn't Falco that set it off, it was you. Don't tell the elf, but it was your belly.
That's ass, yeah.
You do activate a pit trap. When they built this place, they wanted people not to disturb it best they could. And unfortunately, the flagstone that you pass on breaks underneath your feet, and you go to tumble down a hole. Unfortunately, it also drags in the characters that are in your immediate vicinity. So I'm afraid that would also be Falco and Nibs. Ted, fortunately for you, you're not affected. Now, it doesn't happen, it happens pretty much instantly. There's like a crack, and then you know you're going to fall through, essentially. So our three characters that are affected, you may do an athletics roll to try and get out of the way and duck to the side before this trap goes off.
Right. Yeah, athletics are nearly a dwarven thing.
Okay. We'll just wait for Nibs' roll.
Sorry, so athletics, yeah?
Not for you, Ted. You're not affected. You're all right. You're at the back.
Perfect.
Okay, so Nibs, Falco, and Groin. Fortunately, you are going to fall into this pit and take some endurance damage. Characters that are not affected may attempt to save another character, or two if they get any bonus successes. So Ted, you can now spring to life using your own athletics and try and save one or two of the characters, maybe even all three if you got 3 successes. Who would be your first target if it is a pass, and then if it's an extra you can decide then?
I'll definitely go for the nearest one. So at the nearest hobbit, probably, yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and do me an athletics roll. Let's see if you can save Nibs from a great fall.
Got a burner and a bonus hope. I'm also going to use my elven rope because it may assist in this. So we'll see.
Yeah, sure. You can dash him a rope.
Well, I got a success.
Oh, no sixes.
No sixes.
Okay, so Nibs, unfortunately you're not quick enough, Nibs, and the tile breaks underneath your feet and you begin to fall to a horrible potential doom. Luckily, the elf quickly reacts and throws you his elven rope. As Nibs, you grab onto it, swinging inside the pit as he has saved your life.
So sorry, did I get to add a 6 to the elven rope, or we just roll that as normal?
You had to add 1 dice, don't you, for the rope?
Yeah, I didn't though. I added a hope.
Oh, that's okay then. Yeah, go ahead and roll me another d6.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought you did.
No, that's fine. It's because I clicked roll as you said yes, so I don't like if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, no worries, mate. Just a miscommunication. Go ahead, roll me another d6 and let's see.
Makes no difference, but sure.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Okay, well, Groin and Falco then. Unfortunately, then, you two do fall into this pit. And it is quite deep. And what's worse is, at the bottom, there are jagged rocks and spikes. So this could really, really hurt. So I need you both to do me a armor roll, please.
Right, so.
Okay, awesome. So luckily for you then, Groin.
Yeah.
Luckily for you then, Groin, you lose five endurance, and you don't take a piercing blow. The spikes are obviously quite old, a little rusted, so it is a great fall. You take 5 damage, and then you fail to take the piercing blow. Falco, on the other hand, you take 5 endurance loss, and then you also take a wound as your armor has failed to save you. So I believe if I just check the rules channel a second, where there is a table for this. Yeah, wound severity. So go ahead and just roll me a Gandalf dice. I'll just roll a d12. I don't know how you roll a Gandalf dice on its own. I really don't know. There probably is a way, but I'm not sure. So if you just roll a d12 and we'll work it out manually.
Okay.
A 6. So you take a severe injury. The value indicates how long it will take for the injury to mend, expressed in days.
Oh.
So this is okay. You're not unconscious or knocked out. Your character can take 2 wounds before you essentially die. So this is your first wound. And for the next 6 days, you're going to have this wound. So if you take another wound in 6 days, you will go unconscious and go into a dying state. So for now then, Falco, I'm going to say that, yeah, this spike goes through your armour. Your armour, luckily, does absorb the blow mostly, but a terrible spike does go straight into your side and pierces deep. As Falco, you let out a scream or a whelp as you fall into this pit.
There's not a scream as he falls, but as soon as he sees the spike, he starts screaming, piercing through him.
Oh, horrible scream from Grub echoes up from the pit. Luckily, I guess the fall wasn't that deep because you only lost 5 endurance, so I guess it wasn't too steep, probably maybe about 6 foot. Maybe the spikes were the bigger issue. Now I'm really looking at the context. So Groin, you've fallen, you're on your side. Luckily you landed in between some spikes, or your armour broke one of the spikes. Unfortunately, Falco has found himself pierced. Ted, you pull Nibs up back out of the pit onto the side. And yeah, what's next for our characters?
I mean,
I'm gonna have a look
probably lower the rope. If he can, he'll try and aim it so like the end tasseled bit like tickles the dwarf's face as it's just kind of hovering above him, just from the edge.
Yeah, sure. I love that. Yeah, no
Just
problem.
gonna scowl. Have a look at Falco, see if he's alright after his scream.
Yeah, he's got a spike in his side. He's not dead, but he has got a severe wound.
Yeah, I mean, can I remove the spike? Or?
You can't remove the spike, but you can remove him from the spike.
I'll do that then. Yeah.
Ooh, so Falco, it hurts as the dwarf lifts up your body off the spike. Blood begins to pour out, but you get the impression that it's not fatal, at least.
Is there any point in doing a heal test?
I don't believe so. I think we went through this last time, didn't we? I think it doesn't give endurance back. I know we worked that out, but it might do something to wounds.
Right.
Let me
Yeah, I was just
double
wondering
check.
if he's bleeding a bit.
So a successful heal check reduces the time to recover by 1 day plus 1 day for each success icon. So yeah, you can heal him. You can heal him and see if you can reduce the severity of his wound.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
Okay. So I guess then you climb out of the pit then, carrying the halfling with you on Ted's rope, and our heroes find themselves again all together in the middle of this barrow. As you go to heal the hobbit, and unfortunately, I mean, narratively you wrap a bandage around it and keep it secure,
Yeah.
but sadly it won't reduce how long it'll take your wound to recover, Falco.
How many days has he
Is
got
it-
so far?
Or
6.
6, is it?
is it possible for Nibs to try to heal the wound at all, or is it just sort of a one? We've done all we can.
Rules as written, it is 1 character per day, but you could have assisted Gorin, Groin, or Groin could have assisted you. With that in note, I'll be kind as we're all new, and I'll let you do a roll as well.
Yeah.
But next time, just remember it is 1 per person, so kind of discuss who's
Right.
doing it and who's assisting before we go ahead and do the roll.
We should probably at some point actually look at like who's best at doing things, because we would know this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we would know who's really good at things, because we're kind of like just like all over the place as to who has what abilities and stuff.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay then, Nibs,
Yeah, I mean,
you
I'm
can
trying
do a heal roll, and then you can add an extra dice from our dwarf assisting you.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh, great.
I do believe
That
it's
sounds
Nibs. Nibs is actually the best healer in the group, to be fair, I think.
probably, yeah. I've only got 1 dice.
Yeah, Nibs has
Yeah.
got 2 and is favoured, so. A great success!
There we go.
Okay, so you reduce it by 2 days. Grub, so for the next 4 days you're going to have this injury down from 6. Still doesn't help you right now though, because if you take 1 more wound you're going to be dying.
Alright. Fine mess you got yourself into, Folko. Putting that in your stories, I'm sure. Spike through yourself and all.
Well, I'm not dead from that, so better than most of my family. I mean, poor Malva, I think, died from just 1 mushroom. It did turn a pretty shade of purple, though.
I love it.
I felt those family.
Okay. What's next then, guys, as you recover from this trap? Do we head on through the barrow, trying to find this man?
Yeah, we need to be really careful feeling our way ahead of us. Don't want to be caught in a trap again.
Right, Ted's gonna try and like look ahead and try and like see where there could be traps and things like that, and try and pick a better path through.
Sure, Ted, that's fantastic. You'd have to go ahead and do me a scan roll if that's okay.
That's perfectly fine. I'll add a hope die to this.
Focal will assist.
Okay, that's even better. That doesn't mean I don't do the hope die. Ooh, what do I? Got 4. Yeah, fuck it. Oh.
Hey, well done. Ted, there is actually a number of these traps. They go in a strange pattern. If you'd have wandered through, you'd have all probably died, as it's definitely rigged to give way every few meters. Luckily, Ted, using your elven eyes and ability, you managed to find a secure path that's almost like a zigzag through this part of the barrow.
Cool. I will kind of try and lead to some extent, but also being very aware that, you know, Ted can pretty much walk over some traps and not set them off, and others would literally fall to their death. He's trying to be careful in his foot placement for them more than himself.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Just because I'm a chunky boy.
Okay. Well, we carry on then further down the barrow. Coming up next is a long corridor of mirrors. As we approach it, there's old lanterns kind of hanging in between the mirrors, and they also burst to life with a strange green eerie glow. You can see at the end the entrance to another room. Above it is like a plaque that reads in an old ancient language. You could do a lore check to kind of understand what it means. And then while you're doing that as well, I can carry on to describe. These mirrors are old, cracked and dusty. But they seem
Is
to
anybody
have...
better than a 2-point law?
Not me. Just
Could help, yeah, that'll give you another 4.
Yeah. Hey, it helped.
There we go.
Hey!
Although it kind of didn't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. This is weird because the numbers actually add up to 14, which is a success without the Eye of Sauron, and the Eye of Sauron does that not necessarily?
No, the Eye of Sauron is only an automatic failure.
0.
Yeah, it's only an automatic. We've been to this before, haven't we? It's only an automatic failure if you're miserable.
Yeah, so it shows a 0, so that is actually still a success.
So,
Nice.
yeah,
It definitely helped then.
It did, that's nice.
So you recognise this language as the language of a variant of the First Men, not the First Men, but a variant of after they branched off and became their own tribes essentially. It says, "Here lie the King Arathath. Only the stoutest of heart may enter."
We'll obviously reciprocate that.
That's no way to look at that.
is this a riddle of some sort?
Or is it just only the member of the group that's the highest heart, you know?
Don't ask me.
Can you describe what the door looks like this underneath the writing? Is it like
Yeah, it's not really on this mid-journey picture, sadly, the door. So we'll have to use theatre of the mind a little bit. But it kind of matches the same type of architecture of these mirrors. Nice wood that's kind of been waxed and stained. Over time it's become quite old. Maybe a little bit of mould shows on it. It's a little misshapen from absorbing water. It doesn't seem to be particularly anything special about it, really. Just 2 big wooden doors with a really nice wooden frame and a stone plaque over the top with the words etched into it. And maybe some like, I don't know, kingly figures carved into the door.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what it says to me, so that's the stoutest heart adventure, which would be the person who got the highest value in heart, I would imagine. I don't know if anyone else reads it a different way.
Well, the only thing is that, yeah, I mean, you want the highest rank with the lowest target number, right? So, I'm guessing most people can beat a 17. So as a target number. So probably not dead, as also elves are more akin to King of Despair, as they are watching the Middle Earth corrupt around them.
And I've got an 8.
Guess that's Foco. He's going to crouch. He's
Yeah, with that.
and sort of crouch, sort of walk down the hallway.
Okay. Our stout-hearted hobbit takes the lead.
Nibs is going to just put a hand gently on his shoulder, and he says, Foco, there's no doubt that you have one of the stoutest hearts of any hobbit that I've ever known. But lad, you just took a spike through this. Give yourself a moment to rest. You sure you want to go in there? I think the fact that all of us are here proves we all have quite stout hearts, and any one of us would be just as good as another to go in. I don't want to see you get hurt.
Well, I don't want to see myself get hurt either, Nib, but I think I'm the hobbit for the job. It's one more grub death. Doesn't mean much to the Shire anyway. As he starts crouch walking.
That's no way. You have too many good years ahead of you. Let me push the door. I'll push the door.
Okay. Are you going first, Nibs?
I think he's worried about Folgo. Out of game, I don't want to quash your idea to push the door, but just in character, I think Nibs is concerned for his hobbit friend, and he would valiantly offer to try to go first.
Okay, if Nibs, he'll defer to his elders.
All right, let's do it. Nibs is grumbling the whole way about what he's got himself into. He hates every moment of this.
I'm not surprised, Nibs. I'm not surprised. So, Nibs, as you head down this hall of mirrors, I guess you can't help but see the reflections, even as you focus straight on. You know, at the side of your eyes, you see images. In the first one, Nibs, you see yourself as a young hobbit. In the second one, Nibs, maybe it's you when you were young, when you maybe fell in love. The next one, Nibs, is a tragedy that happened in your life, something that changed you. And the next one, Nibs, is yourself, but you look evil. You look changed. You look like Bilbo Baggins, you know, when he goes to snatch the ring in Lord of the Rings, where his eyes go black and he goes, "Ah!" That's kind of what you look like. And then in the next one, Nibs, you see the thing that you desire the most. Nibs, what is that?
I think it's to be acknowledged for his service to protect the Shire and to
Okay. Well, you see yourself then stood in one of the mirrors. I'm just trying to how would we represent that? Maybe there's like a Bounders Award. Maybe there's like a head bounder.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like maybe it says loads of other hobbits stood around you cheering your name, that you're a hero.
Mm-hmm.
And the person in that mirror reaches out a hand of the mirror, and it kind of comes out of the mirror to grab you and pull you in. And Nibs, it's so enticing. You're gonna have to do a wisdom roll, please, to know that it's not real. I will give you 2 bonus dice though, because otherwise there's probably no chance you'll pass. I want to make this sensible.
Okay.
Because you know it's not real. You know it's a trick. Okay, Nibs. For a second you're stood, being lured into the mirrors. You're not knowing what will happen if you do reach out and touch this hand of your dreams. But you quickly snap out of it, and you make it to the other end.
Well, just make it. What do I see here?
Are you going to push the door open?
Yeah.
Okay. As you push the door open, then you see a huge room with a throne in the middle that seems empty. Laid on the floor next to the throne is the ranger Aelin. He looks unconscious but not wounded.
Do we also see
is
this?
Nib still-
No, Ted, you do not. It's a personal thing for him. So unless he tells you what he sees,
No, that's fine. I was just generally curious.
yeah, no, cool.
Is Nib sort of still in the effect of the mirrors, or he has his full faculties?
No, you've passed. You're okay.
Okay. Can I still talk to? Are they close enough that I can still talk?
Yeah,
to them?
yeah, you can shout
here?
down the corridor.
Okay, I don't know if he wants to shout, but maybe a loud whisper. To say, "Hey, the mirrors will tempt you. It might be best to close your eyes, but I think I found him. Don't look too closely at your reflection. I think we found the ranger here."
Okay.
I'm just gonna glance at Tad, and then I'm gonna set off to follow Nibs.
Okay.
Ted will act as rear security, so he'll make sure that nothing's following us, and that so long as everyone else is ahead of him, he's just kind of keeping a watch, making sure no one's getting left behind, or that no one's going to get ambushed from behind.
Folko, with his eyes closed, going to just crawl forward. Head down.
Okay. So we'll do the dwarf first then. Mr. Dwarf, you see a similar thing to Nibs. You see yourself young and stout. Maybe the first ore that you ever opened up with a nice big gem in it.
Yeah.
Maybe, and then the first tragedy that happened in your life, maybe losing one of your friends in the mine or getting killed by an orc. And then next you see what you desire the most. And what do you desire the most?
I think it'll be a crown.
A crown.
A crown and a throne under a mountain.
You see the seat of the lonely mountain where the kings throughout the ages have sat. And there is a crown there on the seat. As you can become the king. You can take the crown. And you find an urge to reach into the mirror and take the crown. You also have to do me a wisdom check. You know it's not real. You know Nibs has warned you it's not real. Please go ahead and add 2 bonus dice. Oh no, I only had 1, sorry. I thought in my head it was only a D12, but looking at it now you get a D12 and a D6. I wanted it to be a D12 and a D6 basically, 2 D6. So just add 1 D6, if that's okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, that was close. That was close.
you pass. You resist the
Mhm.
crown, and an evil version of yourself snarls at you in the mirror as it vanishes back to a cracked screen as you make it to the other side. Falco, I think for you it's more interesting. Well, not more interesting, but I think it's different. I think you see yourself stood with all your family, and I think one by one as you go down the mirrors, you see how each family member die again. So I mean, so for you, it's basically all the way down. There's a lot of mirrors, luckily. And then in the end, you see your greatest desire, as you see all the horrible moments that your families have died, eaten mushrooms, drowned, fishing, blown up by fireworks, all the mishaps of the Grub family line, and then in the end. You see what you greatest desire the most. What do you desire the most?
So I'm seeing this even with my eyes closed?
I'm afraid it's not that easy. As you walk down, you see it in your mind. Things reach out into it.
Falco sees a big mansion, large farm, bigger than his father's, bigger than Bag End. Just focal there, all of it.
Okay. Beautiful farm. Everything you've ever wanted. You see an evil version of yourself in the farm in a rocking chair, just rocking back and forth, smoking a pipe in a shadow. Oh, okay. Did you add two d6 or 1d6?
I also added a hope.
Also added a hope. Okay, fair enough. I think we'll say what happens is you see it in your mind at first, and then you kind of forced to open your eyes. You can almost feel two hands opening your eyelids as the ancient kings of old are not going to be fooled by that trick. Falco, you make it to the end, luckily. That just leaves our elf. And I guess what you see, Ted, I mean, how old is Ted? 140 years old, bloody hell. So for you, Ted, you see a young, hopeful elf in Mirkwood. You see, your mentor maybe training you how to shoot an arrow for the first time. And then as you pass through, Ted, you just see Middle-earth become corrupted, one tree at a time. Orcs chopping forests down. The elves getting tortured and turned into orcs at the beginning of the Silmarillion. Just all these horrible images flashing through your mind as you pass through. And then the last thing, Ted, is what you see in the mirror. And Ted, what do you see in the mirror? What's your greatest desire, Ted?
So this would be Ted going to to Valinor and getting to go underneath the. I mean, it's his hope. He knows it's a fantasy, but to bathe under the light of one of the trees. But he knows that at least one, if not both of them, are now dead. But that would be his hope, is that they obviously communication's been lost. So his hope is that maybe the Alinor have given them trees again, and that he could bathe under the light of the two trees once he's finished his time here in Middle-earth.
Okay. Well, you see yourself under the trees, bathing in the light, with all your troubles behind you. The Ted under the tree turns to look at you as his eyes roll black, and a smile runs across his face that's far too wide. Go ahead and do me that roll, please, that wisdom roll. You know it's not real, but you can't help but be drawn in by your dream.
So again, additional d6 for being told, right?
Yep, additional d6 for being told, and you can add some hope if you like.
Definitely adding a hope, yep. So do one support companion, because that's effectively how it works, so... Ooh!
Oh!
Seriously, my rolls, I love the low rolls. It's been really weird, either really high or really low all game.
Oh my goodness!
Horrible.
It's like 5, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, okay. And only one off as well. One off!
So
actually passing.
Sad, Ted. So sad. Okay. So Ted, as you get towards the end, then this last mirror, the Ted under the tree stands up and moves towards you like a wraith, and he reaches out his hand, and unfortunately, you're too engrossed. Your friends can't get to you in time, or maybe they're even too scared to go back down the corridor themselves. As you all watch as Ted walks into the mirror and vanishes.
Elf, what have you done now?
What?
Ted, you bathe under the tree, and for what feels like an eternity, as minutes become hours, hours become days, and days become a lifetime. You bathe underneath this tree that eventually dies, rots, and grows black. And you're spat back out of a mirror at the other side, landing on the ground next to the party. And you gain 3 shadow points.
Okay.
This has affected you completely. As Ted gets thrown out of the mirror, he seems very affected by what he's just seen.
Shadow scars or temporary?
I think it's temporary. Because
Cool.
at the end, in the hero phase, we work out how many you've got, and then you might go down your shadow path. So I just think you put it in temporary for now, and then they may become permanent depending on what you do in your hero phase.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I was like, it was the shadow scars. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a really bad thing that you get, like when you've been really badly hurt and fucked up. I was like, that seems a bit rough for the opening, like,
Yeah.
journey in.
Okay, Ted. Well, you regain control of your character then, as you meet the party at the other side of the Hall of Mirrors. And
How was
yes.
Mirror World, Ted?
That wasn't pleasant. Yeah. And Ted just generally is like looking down at the floor. He's really not happy. He's not quite collected himself.
So that wasn't a nice journey then.
No, that was pretty much everything that you could think of as despair and dread being conjured up. So yeah, not great.
As you guys press through into the next room, you get to the end of the barrow. You see the great throne of the ancient king, and the young ranger, laid in front of him. Well, laid in front of the throne. He doesn't seem injured, but he does seem unconscious in a deep sleep. Occasionally he twitches and turns his head like he's having some kind of a nightmare.
Carefully walk into the room. Sort of scan the room first, maybe.
You said earlier there was vines and stuff along the walls that might open up to light, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should maybe tug on them.
Yep.
Yes,
So
sir.
as Fogel would begin sort of going along the wall, pulling down the vines, trying to open up the light before he sort of enters the center.
Okay.
Yeah, Floy will start helping.
So, we can do that then, no problem. But to get the light to shine on the throne, you have to get near the throne. You can get it to shine around the throne, no worries. But the vine above the throne is kind of like next to it. So you'd have to approach the throne to get it to shine on the throne.
Yeah, Floy will do that.
Okay. You step forward then, Floy. The ranger on the floor begins to twitch even more. and writhe like he's almost in pain. A strange ethereal glow begins to echo now on the throne, and appearing on the throne is a creature of darkness, a wraith with a crown on his head and a sword in his hand.
You dare disturb me, a king of old? Name yourselves.
I am Floyd, the Wanderer, son of Groin. And
Folko,
you?
Grub of the Shire.
And Nibs, Wise here, also of the Shire.
Tilliquin Reuven Silverleaf of Mirkwood.
Why have you disturbed me? Arathoth, son of Arlen, king of Anduin.
Because we come for him.
He is mine, my new guardian.
But his brother wants him back.
One of you can take his place. I will permit.
Can I just make a grab at the vine?
Okay, you certainly can, but if that's the case, then we are going to go to combat, as he's not done. So I guess as you leap to action, Gloin, none of you wants to become a Wraith Guardian. I'm afraid the Wraith springs into action, his sword gleaming, and we're going to have to do a combat, fellas.
So Ted is definitely at the back of the group.
Yeah, you can do your range, that's fine. There's not going to be any volley round, obviously, but you can obviously get into your combat stance. Okay, everyone go ahead and select your stance. There can only be one ranged one.
Sorry, where do I do that?
So if you just right click on your token, just on the left hand side you'll see all the stances. The two swords is the aggressive stance, the axe is the passive stance, and the shield is the defensive stance.
So aggressive, you get an extra d6 to your attack. Defensive, you get an extra thing to defend this, and then obviously open that does some other stuff. That was a thing.
I think I'm gonna go open, I think.
Okay.
Yes, open stance has no advantage, but you can use a combat task to rally comrades.
Yeah.
As a forward stance, you gain an extra dice, combat attacks, and you can combat task intimidate foe close. You do all attacks against you lose a d6, and you can use the combat task to protect companion, and then ranged. They can only attack me with ranged attacks, and I can use a combat task of prepare shot.
Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna go open, I think.
Okay then. So then, let's get this underway then as this terrifying wraith appears. Up first is Folko Grubb, the most foolhardy hobbit I've ever met, as he clutches onto his Bull Roarer's mace and charges up the throne into the Wraith King. Good luck, Folko.
Okay.
I think Hamish might take exception to being the most foolhardy hobbit.
So,
Yeah, that's true.
okay, so Polar is only procs on orcs, right? So I don't get the extra d6.
Yeah, sadly not.
I tied the sunstone to it. Can I get a d6 from that?
Let me just check. It has. So he gets favoured rolls while in it. He gets. No, that it will do something, but it won't do that.
Okay. Gonna use a hope. Then,
Okay.
and I get a +1 die for aggressive.
Yeah, good luck, man. Best of luck.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
3 6s.
yeah,
Whoa!
3 6s.
Whoa! Yes.
and that's going to be heavy. So that's going to be a total of 16 damage.
Wow.
Well, tickle me pink. 16 damage. That's incredible. Well done, my friend. So Falco, with incredible courage and strength, runs up to the king as he fails to parry him, and he does a terrible blow, knocking off one of his skeletal wraith-like arms and smashing it to the ground. Well done, Falco. That definitely took me by surprise. Sadly, the king is quite tough, although that would have definitely felled an orc or something worse. As we go over now to Floy. So Floy, you can attack, or you can try and manoeuvre around him and pull the vine to get the sunlight to come in on him.
I'll try and maneuver around and pull the vine.
Alright, yeah. That sounds great to me.
What would I roll for that?
You could either maybe do a stealth while he's distracted, or you could do a maybe like an athletics to get round him quickly, something like that.
And do a stealth while he's distracted.
Alright, so yeah, sounds good to me.
So, no bonus, no penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Alright, so you sneak round him, pull off a vine, and then all of a sudden... Oh, for some reason that's facing the other way. Let me put this down. So yeah, so now light is shining down from the top onto the wraith, which means he'll lose a point of hit at the beginning of each round. So well done. So he's now in his weakened state, which is exactly what you guys want, because you'd probably struggle to beat him otherwise. Nibs, over to you.
All right. Nibs is better with a bow, actually. Is it possible to pull out the bow to?
No, because there can only be one person in the range slot.
Okay.
It's up to be fair, the GM can permit other people to be in it.
If we get a bigger group as well, this won't become an issue because I think it's only one per like 3 or 4. But once you get bigger, you can have more.
You know what, Nibs? We're all learning and we're all starting out. Go ahead and do a bow attack. I'm okay with it. You stand back with the elf and you fire over Falco into the wraith.
All right. Perfect. Where do I? Oh yeah, definitely. I just hit from the combat proficiencies. The bow.
Yes. Click on
Yeah,
bow.
well, for some reason you don't have a bow on your character sheet. Yeah, that's odd. But yeah, just do me in fact, no, just hang on a second, Nibs. I'm just going to rejig your character sheet and put a bow on because it'll work out all the damage and stuff for me. For some reason, you haven't got it on your character sheet, which I think is a bit odd. Just let me fix that. Okay. Okay, Nibs. There you go. So you just click on the bow now, if you don't mind.
All right. And I'm gonna just use a hope as well.
Okay.
Oh, hey.
Oh! The arrow flies overhead, I'm afraid. Nib, as your hands shake. Ted, over to you.
Yeah, hang on. Sorry, for some reason it's being really weird. Sure, I don't want to target that. Sorry.
mind.
Okay, this might be targeting me, but we'll see how it goes. Right, we're gonna roll of hope die as well. How is that a failure with a 24?
Why is it 35?
Yeah, that seems a bit.
Yeah, your bow score seems a bit off there, doesn't it?
I'm just gonna try rolling it up. So I rolled that from the actual equipment. I'm just gonna try rolling it from the other one. I mean, I'll definitely take the 2 successes and a 24
Yeah,
to attack,
no
but we'll
worries.
just to see if this.
Oh, well, we'll use that roll. 'Cause it's basically the same anyway.
I was because it should be against my strength. So yeah. So I'd like to use 2 of those to do pierce. So it's another +2. So that's an additional +4.
So you're doing heavy blows then, yeah? 2 heavy blows.
No, well, the equivalent they're called pierce. So
Well,
because
the
I have
thing
a bow.
is that. Okay, just run me through that then, because I don't you pierce on a 10+.
No, so that's a piercing blow. I know they've called them the same, very similar things. So basically, you have pierce, which you hit a less specific part of the specific. Spend 1 success icon to modify the feat dynamical to result of the attack. If by +1 for +4, +2 for a bow, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. Piercing blow is if you roll a 10 or Gandalf through. And I think it's the equivalent to effectively using a.
Okay, yeah, because you can spend the 6s to add 2 to that pierce and make it up to a piercing blow. That's where I'm getting confused. So say if you rolled a 6 on the feet, you could spend those 2 and add 4 and make it a piercing, and then you'd be able to pierce him.
Oh yeah, then I'll do that. That makes way more sense.
No, but the problem is you got a 5, so you can only make it a 9, which would be 1 short of a
I see.
piercing.
One short.
So I
Yeah,
think
no,
you
that
can.
makes sense.
So yeah, I believe you can only make heavy blows unless I'm mistaken. I think with the bow, it might be called a piercing shot or something. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah,
Like
but
an
I've just
extra
read
2
what you're
damage.
saying, and that makes way more sense. So basically, I can with an arrow, I can add it up with a bow by +2 to actually get a piercing blow. So I can effectively cheat a piercing blow,
Yeah,
while
yeah.
everybody else has to roll it naturally.
So I think
That
for now
makes
you want to
sense.
just do the heavy blows with the arrow instead for the extra
I
damage.
don't think I can do heavy blows with an arrow. Oh, just say any weapon. So sure, sure,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
go with that.
Sweet as a nut. Sweet as a nut. So you hit the guy for 3 plus. Is it 4? Yeah, +4.
So it's 3 damage and 14 injury.
Yeah, I know, but when you add the d6, is the heavy blow +4 or +2? Sorry, I can't remember.
Heavy blow to strength, so I think
Is
it's
it
another
plus-
+5.
+5. Yeah, my strength's a +5. So if I'm doing that twice, that'd be +10.
Oh, wow! So a 13 damage!
Yeah.
Holy crap! Well done, man. This Barrowite is not having a good day. So Falco knocks off his arm, and then Ted smashes an arrow straight into his eye. As one of his eye sockets goes out, and half of his jaw swings loose. But again, he is unfortunately not dead. But very good, Ted. Beautiful shot. So we go over then now to the Barrowite. At the beginning of my turn, because I'm in sunlight, I actually lose a hate. And then I lose another hate because of the... oh no, I don't. I attack with 1 less because of the artificial light. So I lose a hate. I'll mark that on my sheet, which is beautiful for you guys. And then I also am going to attack with 1 less dice because of the Sunstone, which is really, really cool. So I can do a couple of things though. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 hate point. Spend 1 hate point to make 1 player hero, gain 3 shadow points. Sorcery. Targets who fail their shadow test or who are miserable fall unconscious and may be roused with a song roll. Otherwise, they'll wake up in 1 hour. So because Ted, I'm sorry, Ted,
Yeah.
because Ted has
I
already.
didn't know as soon as you're like shadows like this is coming for me.
Yeah, this is the point of the mirrors. Sorry, Ted. So because Ted was the one that went in the mirror, Ted is going to do this to you, a dreadful spell. From what I can see, I don't have to roll anything. It just says you need to do a shadow test. I don't even really know what a shadow test is, to be honest.
I mean, I'll have a quick look. See if I can find.
Let me just have a look as well. Shadow test. I believe
Shadow
that-
test. Here we go. Shadow points. Challenge will be powerful. Question: the result. Shadow test. A number of sources called shadow test are based on either valor or wisdom, depending on the specific source of the shadow. So
Okay.
this is wisdom or shadow roll, effectively.
We'll do a wisdom then, Ted. This time there's no bonuses.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so when I interestingly, when a shadow test is passed, you reduce the amount of points gained by 1 on a success.
Beautiful. That's fantastic.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
I wish you
We'll
the
go
best
for
of luck,
wisdom.
my friend. I really do.
So wisdom, you said, yeah, or valor? Did you say? Sorry?
We'll do wisdom. We'll stick to what we know.
That's fine. Straight roll. That hope did not go off, so I'll just manually mark that. But I'm definitely going to roll a hope on this because I think we're going to need it.
Way!
Automatic success.
Well done. Gandalf
That's cool.
saves you. So, Ted, you do not fall unconscious, which is exactly what we want. Okay, then I am going to use my Ancient King Sword. And I am going to run this Hobbit hero, Falco, through his chest and send him to meet his brothers and sisters. Okay. Let's see how this goes. So I would be rolling with 3 dice here, but I actually get a minus because of the Sunstone. So well done, guys. Here. And I am going to spend a point of hate to make that actually a negative, right? Because I can spend a hate. So I'm going to cancel. I'm going to go down to 4 hate, and I'm going to cancel out your negative and give myself a bonus because I really do hate Falco Good for knocking off his arm. So, well, not me. The Wraith does. I love you, Falco. Here we go. Oh! All right. Oh! And I've got an Eye of Sauron, so I can do a piercing blow. That is disgustingly horrible. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to spend my 6 to do an extra. Spend my 6 to do a heavy blow. So I submit that. So Grub, you take 11 damage, which is awful. So you drop down to 6 hope. So you now become weary, and then you need to do a protection test, please, and hope your armor holds up as its sword digs deep into your chest. No! Roll a d12, Grub. What happens to you? You might be lucky and roll a 1. No! No, Volko! So you are knocked unconscious with 0 endurance and are now dying as if wounded twice.
No, isn't 12 Gandalf?
I can't remember if 12's Gandalf or 12's Sauron because it's a bit weird. It's like it's not a one.
If you look at the table, it's. I mean, I guess you're right. Actually,
I think.
it's just weird because on the table the Gandalf is before the 1, and then the Eye of Sauron is after the 10. So it makes me believe that the Eye of Sauron is higher. But I think you're probably right.
Yep.
So the blow received was violent enough to expose you to risk of worse consequences if injured again. But no lasting injury was inflicted. At the end of combat, you will recover in a matter of hours. So you were one lucky halfling there, my friend. One incredibly lucky halfling. As the sword pierces you, but luckily you're unwounded. I guess you've got the luck of the grubs, we'll say. All right. Okay. I believe that's. And then I can do one last thing called the Chilling Touch. And I'm going to try and Chilling Touch the dwarf for causing me all these problems. Again, I'd get a negative, but I'm going to spend another point of hate to make it equal.
Right.
And I'm going to do a Chilling Touch on the dwarf. Alright, so what this does is it does 6 damage to you. And then I believe I also seize you as well. So you can take 6 off your endurance, taking you down to 24, and then I believe you're seized. Which I'll tell you what that is in a second. Over to the top of the round then. That was the Barrow King. over to you then,
Right.
Falco.
Okay. Stabbed with the sword, he'll try again, try to knock that aside and go for another hammer.
Okay. Yeah, you're seized. So let me quickly look at what seized does. I believe it means you get negative
Yeah.
for being parried and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Falco might do some heroics. Good luck, Falco.
Gonna use another hope. No.
You're just too miserable. You're too weary. As you've taken off 4 maybe bigger than you can chew. Nibs! Good luck, Nibs. Hopefully you can put an arrow in his other eye. I wish you the best of luck.
Oh, he sees Folko get stabbed, and he feels his eyes go red, and he knocks an arrow, calms his nerves. He takes steady aim. Great success.
A great success. All right. You can also spend that 6 to add another 4 points to it. So in total, you would deal 7 damage. Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. Well, that will mean then that you guys actually beat the Wraith, because Falco did such a good opening shot, and then so did Tiquan. Nibs, I guess the arrow kind of flies through the air and smashes the Wraith in the other eye. And he grabs both arrows, dropping the sword as it clangs off the throne below your guys' feet, and it holds the arrows. And
This will not be forgotten.
as the Wraith, his spirit kind of disassembles as it was in a puff of green glow, and his bones clang down onto the throne as if in slow motion. And you guys have defeated the Wraith. Well done.
Woo-hoo. Surely it won't be forgotten, as Nibs will be telling this story as long as we can remember. Come here, you crazy hobbit.
Look, I got a sword. Is it still stuck in his gut?
Is that the sword the Rangers were after?
It is a sword the Rangers are after. And one last thing, guys, you need to do a shadow test, because when you encounter a creature of shadow, you need to do a shadow test, and this is a Valor one this time, please. So everyone do a Valor check, and then if you fail, you get 1 temporary shadow point.
Oh,
Oh, Ted, you're losing your mind.
I just had a look. Like, that's really not good. Like that goes really badly for Ted. Like, there's some stuff that happens now that's really not good.
Isn't it the hero phase it happens?
There's a lot of things, like just how you are in general, like, doesn't go well. I think is the best way of putting it. Mildly.
I don't think it's mechanics, is it? It's more like a narrative, though, right? Don't you just start going a bit loopy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find it again now because I was just on it and I've gone off it because, of course, why would I stay
Fair
on it?
enough. Well, if we find it's too much, we can also, we might be able to roll some stuff back. Let's just see how it is for now, and then we'll see
No,
if
like, it looks fun. It's just a case of, like, I was like, wow, okay, cool. So, the bout of madness, you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, which I'm guessing is, like, the different... That's the thing I need to look at, is, like,
your shadow path has 4 ways down it, doesn't it, I think? And, like,
yeah.
the further you go down it, I think you're probably only going to make it to step 1. I don't think it's too bad. The worst thing is that you're going to be miserable until you get more hope. That's probably the worst thing.
Yeah, well,
so-
I'm completely out of hope now.
Yeah,
Completely
so
spent,
the next
so-
adventure might be a bit rough, but
Right.
we'll work it out anyway. Okay, well, you guys, you defeat the Wraith. All the voices kind of stop now in the glowing in the cave. All the glowing stops, and the Ranger also kind of sits up right now, almost like he's coming out of the night. Well, I'm having some problems with my sound for a second. I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna shut it. Yeah, the Ranger wakes up then. Where am I? Where's my brother? Aerith? Aerith?
It's alright.
What?
We did some care to it. Are you alright?
It's you for? How did he get here?
Followed you.
What?
Aerith was worried about you. He got attacked by a Barrowite.
Is he okay? Is
He's
he
wounded,
alive?
but he's okay.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you've done. We should get out of here.
Is this the sword you was looking for?
He looks down at the sword. Yes. The sword of Aranath.
Sorry about the Hobbit
found it.
bloodstain.
Oh, God bless you, stout-hearted folk. Sorry for making fun of you. If you don't mind, I want to get to my brother.
Tell him where his brother is, I suppose.
Come, let's leave this place.
Is there anything else in this room, or just everything, just the bones in this?
Just the bones. The reward is the sword.
Right.
You know, there's probably some narrative items. You know, maybe the king had a ring on you could take.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. Like if you think of something cool that's narrative, you could probably loot it. But in terms of mechanical upgrades, there's nothing apart from this sword. Maybe the crown. You know, maybe he has a crown on his head that falls to the ground that you could take as a trophy or whatever. Well, the ranger gets up then and quickly begins to leave, issuing you guys to basically follow him. As you go down the hall of mirrors, as you guys are walking past the mirrors, they just explode one after the other as you guys are walking down. As you begin to leave, all the candles kind of go out after you guys as you head back out of the barrows, victorious and somehow alive still, as Ted, the ranger, asks you to take him to his brother.
Ted will take him there, especially as he feels quite a bit forlorn, a bit kind of, you know, the end is nigh. Like, I think, you know, the darkness will eventually take over and the mortal realm will be conquered once more by evil. So he's kind of like this little bit of hope, maybe that's some brightness in this dark and terrible world.
You need to lighten up, Alf.
Some of us don't bury our heads under mountains for their entire lives.
Oh, they walk around with the trees or up their ass.
The ranger runs over to his brother, who's now sat up smoking his pipe, as he still lays a little injured. Brother, you're alive. Aye. These fine folks saved us both. Never again will I doubt the stoutedness of hobbits. I think you all should have this. And he gestures for one of you to take the sword.
Ted will definitely kick forward one of the hobbits to take it.
Yeah.
Does Nib have any proficiency in sword?
Oh, Nibs, he does, but I think Nibs will just kind of tap Folko on the back and say, "Go on, lad.
Yeah.
You learned it. You."
Oh yeah, sure. You came all the way from the north for the sword.
I mean, just to interject, he kind of already has the mace of the Bull Roarer, so
Yeah.
you could swap that round, or you could give it him. I'd personally like everyone to have a magical item by the end of the event, by the end of the starter set. Of course, if you don't want it, you can give them the sword and they'll leave with it. But if anyone else is decent with swords, I recommend you take it.
I
I don't have proficiency.
I have one proficiency in swords.
I got 2 proficiency in swords.
Yeah, Ted's a 1 as well, because the rest is in bow. Same as I'm guessing with you.
Okay. Well, 2. You both have 2 in brawling. So what might make sense is you take the sword, Falco, and then give Nibs the Bull Roarer club, because then Nibs can, as his 2 in brawling, which will work out really well for him.
Yeah.
Then you can use the sword.
Sure, I guess it'll be another member of my gut wound.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Well
I
then,
think you deserve it.
you do deserve it. You really do. And then he looks at you, Ted. Singues Hiluathan. Forgone. Your oath, you fulfilled your oath, and it will not be forgotten in Sindarin. And he gives you a nod of thanks.
Ted just kind of nods, kind of quietly. And it looks a bit forlornly on this man, because he knows he's probably going to see a lot more combat and darkness in his years to come. And he's probably quite ready for.
Yeah. Well, saving the Rangers brothers does give you guys a point of hope back, that there is hope in the world still. You know, you can still save people, you can still do good. As the brothers then get up and we're going to make our way back to our own home. Spread tales of your valor. Thank you again for saving our lives.
You're welcome.
As the 2 rangers depart then now into the forest, what the brother that was knocked unconscious kind of with his helping the other one kind of hobble along as they disappear, and you guys can carry on your adventure back to Stockbrook. Although you probably want to at least settle down for the night now and have a bit of a camp and have a bit of a rest after that excitement. And that's also then where we're going to end today's game, I think, as well. So, yeah, as you we'll do one last scene as you guys are kind of sat around the campfire for the night. Nibs, what's kind of running through your head right now after that encounter?
After all that excitement, I think, secretly he feels pretty good to himself that he, after seeing that vision of the, everyone kind of hoisting him up and Bounder of the Year and, protecting everyone, and then getting that arrow, he feels like he did his job today, and, he helped to keep Folco from killing himself, and he's a bit weary. This was a lot of adventure and excitement for him for one day, but he's satisfied that he's done his part today.
Okay, fair enough. Folker, how do you feel?
Physically, he feels horrible. He got spike in the gut, then he got sword, but mentally, he's a little tired, but overall, I think good. Like, he destroyed that creature's army, did well. He got stabbed, but that's what you get. And he's sort of, his dream that was in the mirror is he looks on, remembers his farm. It's sort of changing as instead of just sitting on a farm, he's sort of standing on a hill, armor, sword raised high, enemies beaten before him.
Nice, awesome. Mr. Groin, your first real adventure with the group. How do you fare, and what's kind of on your mind?
Well, he's feeling a bit thoughtful. He's certainly got a newfound respect for our 2 little companions. He's wondering what it was that corrupted the elves and dragged him through the mirror. The trouble with elves, they've always been so corruptible, fall into the shadow. And also, he's a bit shocked about the vision of the crown, because obviously he's got no chance in life of becoming a king. So, it's a revelation to him that that's, his dream.
And I suppose on a sadder note, Ted, what's kind of going through your mind right now?
So yeah, Ted's just kind of sort of almost picturing like what the Shire would look like when it's sundered. He kind of like, he starts going through this, and then he, as I've checked, and it's pretty much the only way you can actually get rid of shadow points is to turn it into a scar, which you can then later on heal. From what I can see, Ted is going to kind of like sort of like allow that to kind of wash over him, become a bit like concerned and a bit sort of downhearted with the future, and then he's going to kind of ball it all up and kind of almost manifest, considering he literally wasn't touched in that combat, a small scar running across his one of his forearms that he kind of feels happen, and it's like a darkened, almost necrotized bit of his flesh just up his forearm, and he just kind of like then puts it away and doesn't let it bring him down. He's a permanent reminder, how bad things can be, but he's not going to let it get him down now. And yes, I'm gonna right now I'll remove those 4 temporaries, give myself 1 scar point, and
Sure, yeah. Are you allowed to do that now, or is it just in the hero phase?
so the hero phase is when you can recover it.
Ah, okay. Fair enough.
So,
yeah,
well, I believe that's the case. The fellowship phase is basically the only time.
Yeah. All right, mate.
So the
no
fellowship
problem,
phase is
then.
the only time where you can recover it. But you can, I believe, I'll double check that. If I'm wrong, I'll just put it back to the
Yeah, no worries, buddy. We're all learning now. That's the point of the start set. Even I'm not 100%. Okay, then, guys. Well, yeah, fantastic. Just to monologue a little bit then to kind of catch up to the next session. To be honest, nothing really else happened this session, essentially. Just you guys kind of carry on the road as the tomorrow morning brings a new day, and we head back on the path and continue on to Stockbrook. Where we'd probably do another travel roll, but it's a bit pointless because when you get there you can have a rest. So I guess you guys arrive a little weary, a little downtrodden to Burnfalong, which is your destination to deliver the letter. Back out in the Shire, passing nice hobbits, eating fish and chips in Stockbrook, having boat races, that kind of thing. It's a totally different environment as people ask you why you're so glim. But yeah, eventually we come over Farmer Maggot's farm, or at least for, well, you know it, Nibs, you've been here before. So you, Grub. For our other 2 characters, you're just taking his word that this is Burnfalong.
Yeah.
When 3 big dogs suddenly start coming out and start surrounding you guys, the last thing you need is they start barking aggressively at you. One terribly big one as well, and out trotting from his field. Oi! Fang! Wolf! And Stripe! Stop that immediately! Oh! And then Father Maggot looks at you all a bit suspiciously.
Oh, Maggot, you can call the dogs off.
What are you doing here, Nibs?
As it happens, we've got a letter for you. Let's go inside. We're a bit footsore and, well, we've got a bit to tell you and catch up.
All right there, Nibs. Come along then. And you guys head inside Farmer Maggot's house, where we'll pick up next week. So yeah, that's where we'll end the game today then, guys. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. For me, that was a lot of fun to run. You were all absolutely fantastic. We're going to be playing again on the 10th. I'll put a sign up for that now, and it'll be the last session of our starter set. So again, thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you next time. I hope you had fun.
That was great. Cheers, man.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing. I remember you did say that we needed to pick 2 new items, right, to add in.
Yes,
To
yep.
the gold. Okay, cool. I'll work
Yep.
on that. That's cool.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, I'm going to head off, guys. It's 11 p.m. where I am, and I've got to be up in the morning, as always, with my son. So yeah, I'll bid thee all good night, and thank you again. Take care.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Grim. Thanks, everybody. Anyway, that was
Good
a really
night,
good
guys.
game.